Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the USF Softball Stadium and the 2018 American Athletic Conference Softball Championship. Today's fourth game will feature the Yukon Huskies against the USF Bulls. We would like to remind fans of the American Athletic Conference and University of South Florida, encourage and promote good sportsmanship by student athletes, coaches, and spectators, who request your cooperation by supporting participants and officials in a positive manner. Profanity, racial, ethnic comments, or other intimidating actions directed at officials, student athletes, coaches, or team representatives will not be tolerated and are grounds for removal from the side of the competition. Thank you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's meet the participants for Game 4. For the visiting team, the Yukon Huskies, head coach in her fourth season, Jen McIntyre. Assistant coach, Chrissy Schoonmaker. And assistant coach, Adrienne Clark. The non-starters for Yukon: number 1, Hollis Weibel; number 15, Samantha Barnett; number 17, Mary Beth Olson; number 20, Emma Stanley; number 21, Carissa Brizzi; number 22, Katie Koshis; number 28, Mara Gladsack; number 41, Chelsea Eckert; number 88, Ashley Dama. And now the Huskies starting lineup. Leading off, a freshman shortstop from Easton, Connecticut, number 8, Brianna Marcelino. Batting second, a junior from left fielder from Granite Bay, California, number 10, Kelly Bates. Batting third, sophomore from third baseman from Rockland, California, number 13, Carly Cutler. Batting fourth, a sophomore designated player from Vacaville, California, number 34, Keely McDaniel. Batting fifth, freshman right fielder from Ashburn, Virginia, number 9, Olivia Sappington. Batting sixth, sophomore first baseman from Paso Robles, California, number 14, Chloe Kearns. Batting seventh, sophomore catcher from Reno, Nevada, number 7, Devin Casaza. Batting eighth, senior second baseman from Irvine, California, number 1, Ryan Nakama. Batting ninth, freshman center fielder from New City, New York, number 19, Reese Guevara. On the mound for the Yukon Huskies with a record of 10 and 13, a junior from Longmeadow, Massachusetts, number 2, Jill Stockley. And now for the introductions of the home team, the USF Bulls. Head coach in his 22nd season, Ken Erickson. Assistant coach, Jessica Moore. Assistant coach, Laura Ricciardoni. And Director of Tournaments and Operations.
From Tampa, Florida, the American Softball Championships. It's the fourth and final quarterfinal game of the day. It's the number 1 overall seed, the USF Bulls, the regular season champions, taking on the number 8 seed, the Yukon Huskies. As you look at the brackets here, this is the fourth game of the day. Earlier today, Tulsa defeated Wichita State 3-1 behind 13 strikeouts from Emily Watson. They'll take on the Houston Cougars in the first semifinal tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Houston beat East Carolina 3-1, and it just concluded about 20 minutes ago. The Memphis Tigers, behind Molly Smith, her 12th shutout of the year, defeated the 4-seeded UCF Knights 3-0, and now the Tigers await the winner of this game as they will play them in the second semifinal tomorrow at 4:30 Eastern. I'm Eric Lopez alongside Sydney Gerbrak, and Sydney, let's talk about it. The USF Bulls, regular season champions, 36-20. Home field obviously is the host team, but really coming off winning that 2 out of 3 against Wichita State. They won the last 2 games of that series to win the regular season title and earn the number 1 overall seed, and a big part of that has been their freshman phenom, Georgina Korick, who was the co-pitcher of the year and the rookie of the year in the American Conference.
And talk about an extraordinary player in Korick, considering this USF team is led by seniors, right? USF graduates 7 seniors this season, and this team, they're underdogs. They were picked to finish 3rd in the American, obviously clinched that regular season title spot. Congratulations to the Bulls. And they are category leaders in a number of categories. Leads the American in stolen bases, ERA, opponent's batting average, hits allowed per game, and major offensive moves made by Aston Donovan in particular. And then also, as we previously spoke about, Georgina Korick. Can't wait to talk a lot about her this game.
Korick was fantastic. Of course, Aston Donovan, the senior, one of the leaders. Of course, there's Ken Erickson, the head coach of the Bulls. Has been here for over 20 seasons, a regular season title. Really proud of this team, a veteran group that knows they've got a challenge. They'll face a UConn team, the 8th seed, but that could be misleading. They won 20 games this season. They've got wins against nationally ranked teams like Texas A&M. They've won games at Tulsa. It's the most wins UConn has had in 5 seasons. They've got young pitching, and they got a young team. 14 of their 18 players on the roster are freshmen or sophomore, and they're led by Brianna Marcelino.
And we've seen some big changes here and big impacts made by freshman Marcelino, being one of those big impacts. Was named all-rookie team coming into this series or this championship tournament rather, hitting .279. She's going to be leading the team in doubles, team high of 13. And so she is seen there, obviously talking to assistant coach Chrissy Schoonmaker. And, she is going to be that difference maker. She's going to set the table as a leadoff batter and really set the momentum, set the pace for this UConn offense.
She will lead it off for this UConn offense. She leads the American Conference in doubles. She'll be followed by Kelly Bates, the left fielder, who bats second. Carly Cutler, the sophomore, hit third and played third base. Kiwi McDaniel, the DP, who hit cleanup. Olivia Stapleton, the right fielder, hit fifth. Chloe Kearns, the first baseman, who hit sixth. Devin Casassa, the catcher, who hit seventh. Ryan Nakama will be the second baseman, hit eighth. And Reese Guevara will be the center fielder and hit ninth for the Huskies. Defensively for the Bulls, they'll have Lauren Evans is over at first base. And over at second base, Lindsay Devitt, a first-team all-conference. At shortstop, Cassidy Boyle. At third base, Brooke Hartman. In the outfield, I mentioned the center fielder, senior Aston Donovan. Alongside left fielder, Jasmine Haynes getting the start at left field. Anna Marie Bruni getting the start at right field. With Samantha Worrell getting the start behind the plate in this game. And there is the freshman, the co-pitcher of the year, Georgina Korick. What a year she's had, 14-8 this season with a 1.64 ERA, making her 26th start, her 33rd appearance of the year. She is the third Bulls pitcher to win American Conference Pitcher of the Year since the Bulls joined the league in 2014, joining Sarah Nevins in 2014 and Erica Nunn in 2016. So Coach Erickson's had some good luck there with even years, getting dominant pitching and winning the award.
Yes, he has, and Georgina Korick has impressed the coaches in this conference, obviously co-pitcher of the year along with Houston Savannah Huebner. But what's amazing about Korick is that she has a veteran presence, right? She doesn't pitch like a freshman, and that is attributed to the fact that she's had a lot of international innings. She's actually part of the Great Britain national team. And so she's played softball on the international stage, and so her composure is a reflection of that.
And we're underway as Marcelino takes a strike. 0-1 the count from Korick on a beautiful Thursday evening here. You see the shadow, a little bit of a factor as Marcelino gets jammed, grounds it to third, a throw to first in time as Hartman makes the play, 5-3 ground out to get Marcelino out here with the first out of the ball game. What are some of the keys in this game for you, starting with the Bulls here? What are some of the keys you're looking forward to in this game?
Well, they're, like we said, they're graduating 7 seniors, and that senior leadership is going to need to produce. Aston Donovan, Lindsay Devitt is going to need to come up big for them, Lauren Evans. So making sure that their offense is producing, playing clean defense, and of course, Georgina Korick needs to have a great performance, and then her defense needs to play behind her.
Kelly Bates comes up to the plate, one of the veteran leaders on the Huskies team, the junior, hitting .244 on the year. Slaps one to short. Boyle's there. Will throw to first in time. Nice job there by the shortstop, Cassidy Boyle, the senior, coming up to that ball to get Bates on a 6-3 ground out for the second out here in the top of the first. What are some of the keys for the Huskies here? They're the underdog, but they're capable of winning games. We mentioned they've beaten Texas A&M. They took a game from Tulsa. They've won 20 games. They've got good pitching. What's the keys for them in this game?
They need to come into this game with confidence, right? So they need to trust what their game plan is. No surprise that they're getting Korick today. They need to trust that they are going to be choosing the right pitches, commit to their game plan, and then they also need to play good softball. Put the ball on the ground, making sure that they are getting that timely hit, especially when runners are in scoring position. Playing good softball is going to be the name of the game here in postseason. No need to do anything extra, just play UConn softball.
Carly Cutler at the plate swung that pitch and fouled it off. And the count is a ball and a strike to Cutler, the sophomore. Again, 14 of 18 players on this Huskies roster is either a freshman or a sophomore. An incredible young team under head coach Jen McIntyre, who's in her 4th season and really building this program from scratch, if you will, getting these young players. These are her players. These are starting to be their players that she's been recruiting. She arrived in Storrs, Connecticut, as the 2-1 pitch, and Cutler fouls it down the left side and out of play. And it's been a building block with freshmen and sophomores taking steps. A win over Texas A&M, the biggest in the history of UConn softball, earlier this year in March.
And a couple things at play here for UConn, right? So we're starting to see UConn, the softball program rather, have some success. And we know that women's sports
is very successful at UConn. We'll pick up on that when we come back as Georgina Korick retires the Huskies in order here in the first. We head to the bottom of the first. No score here on the Digital Network.
Welcome into the ADN studio. Hope your week is off to a great start. Thanks for tuning in to an all-new episode of The Rise.
And Mike Hughes, the kicker to beat. Do you believe it? Kareem Bruton Jr. for the win. Yes! The American Conference Championship. Bernie scores.
The next biggest game is our biggest game, and we've been doing that all year.
A game like this, you got to want to win the game. We get to the point to where, okay, we're all scratching the itch, waiting for college football to start.
How impressive is it that both of these programs have been here the last 4 years?
This ball is launched out and beyond left field. Bohm gets around on this one, up the line, that's fair.
I couldn't be prouder. I mean, this conference has just performed beyond anyone's expectations.
Welcome back. Bottom of the first inning. No score between the Huskies and the Bulls. As you look at the starting pitcher for the Huskies, Jill Stockley, 10-13 on the year with a 2.49 ERA, the junior. And we get her 25th start and 31st appearance. And she'll face an explosive USF offense that's led by Ashton Donovan, who will hit second here in this bottom of the first inning, their leading hitter. And as it's Lauren Evans to lead it off for the Bulls, and she's hitting .295. But Donovan's really the big part of this offense.
That's true. And then I don't want to overlook Lauren Evans, though, because Lauren Evans is a major contributor there. Not only does she play solidly on the corner at first base, but she has been
that ball's hit to left field, and a catch is made.
That is the best catch that we have seen in left field today. That is a great read there.
Kelly Bates with an incredible catch, robbing Evans of the play. Let's look at it again.
What I love is that she tracks the ball and she doesn't try to do too much, right? She allows her glove to truly be a basket and lets the ball fall into her glove, trusts her footwork, keeps her feet moving. Love everything about it.
And the first pitch is a strike to Donovan. Donovan hitting .377 on the year, 3 homers, 26 RBIs, over 200 hits in her career here with the Bulls. As could hit for slap or could hit away, and one of the big leaders on this Bulls team.
And you said it. I mean, Ashton Donovan coming into this game, batting .377 on the season. She is the only person in this USF lineup that has started and played in all 56 of the Bulls games. Every other person has been swapped in and out here and there by this coaching staff. And I think that that is a testament to not only the leadership that she brings to the squad, but her consistency, right? She is going to be a player that the Bulls consistently look to perform, and she not only does it with her bat and with her defense, but she does it with the way that she carries herself and the presence that she brings to this Bulls lineup.
2-2. And that's high, and the count is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to count to Donovan. He's very disciplined at the plate. Gone on a .426 on base clip this year for Donovan. Hit in the leadoff spot, hitting the 3 spot, hitting in the 2 spot today. And she fouls that ball off. And we do it again, 3-2. Important for Stockley to get off a good start, right? Get some early outs there, throw some zeros. USF, obviously a lot of partisan fans here in Tampa. Kind of settle things down early, which Stockley's capable of doing.
Well, and what Stockley is great at, her curveball is her go-to pitch, and she mixes change in regardless of what the count is. And that change has a downward tail, so it works for her, and we've seen it a couple different times so far, that all of her pitches having that downward tail is going to force opposing offenses to tilt their barrel, resulting in more fly balls. And so she's more often than not going to be successful because that's going to be able to create easy outs for her defense.
The play was called foul on that ground ball to third. You got Carly Cutler at third base for the Huskies defensively there. You got Marcelino at shortstop with Ryan Nakama at second base. At first base, Chloe Kearns. And then, of course, the catcher, Casasa, catching Stockley. The outfield, you saw Kelly Bates with that catch at left field, Stapleton at right field, and Guevara at center. Here's a crowd at first. They'll rush to the bag at first, and they just get Donovan out. That was a close play there, Chloe Kearns. You can't underestimate the speed that Donovan brings there, but she took it herself and got the out.
I don't know if I would have taken that myself if I were Chloe Kearns. I think I might have just tried to get the tag, because if she runs out of the baseline anyway, then she's already out. Ooh, yeah,
you're right. That's an interesting,
that's an interesting decision. It works out in her favor, but also something for her maybe even to look back on game film and make a different decision in the future.
Lindsay Devitt, did she go around? They appeal. They say no swing, says Brad Newton, the first base umpire. Devitt, 368 average on the year with 6 homers and 37 RBIs. The 37 RBIs leads the Bulls team this season.
So major contrasts that we're seeing between UConn and USF, right? And we've seen that a lot today. Veteran leadership versus maybe even a combination of veterans and newcomers, and then sometimes just newcomers. And we're seeing that a lot from UConn, right? So they're going to have to capitalize on their youth, and they're going to have to capitalize on maybe even a lack of experience, which sometimes can be a good thing. And that's going to be a big difference maker, whether or not they can set aside their lack of experience and just have fun and just play. And USF is going to have to rely on their experience in contrast in order to, dig in the moments of this game that when things might not go their way.
The 2-1 pitch is outside 3-1. That's a great point you've made. I was just thinking about that. We started off at 10 a.m. today. Tulsa, the veteran, that senior class, they've been to 3 conference championship games, beating the newcomer Wichita State. You had Houston with their veterans beating the young East Carolina team as Devitt fouls it off. And then even in the most recent game, Memphis, and we saw the seniors like Molly Smith leading the way against the UCF team that only has 2 seniors on the roster. And so far, the veteran teams have gotten on the win column far through the first 3 games.
And two, the veteran, even though there's Molly Smith is a notable veteran. We'll talk a little bit more about that later.
We'll continue that as a great strikeout for Stockley to get Devitt to end the inning as she retires the Bulls in order. No score here on the American Digital Network.
There are other people just like you, driven, determined. Those who use passion to spark creation. Others who are ready to unite and discover together. It all starts with you and continues with us, the University of South Florida.
Power comes in all forms.
Power is a big tackle,
a big save,
a clutch hit,
and a game-winning shot.
Power is also standing up for what is right.
Power is respecting an opponent, officials,
student athletes, coaches, and team representatives.
Power is not tolerating racial or ethnic comments,
profanities, or other improper actions
while at the game.
Be American.
Power.
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 Power for life.
Welcome back to the 2018 American Softball Championships, Day 1. This is the 4th of the 4 games today. The quarterfinals, we hit at the top of the second. No score between UConn and USF. Eric Lopez alongside Sydney Gerback here in Tampa, Florida. As it'll be Kiwi McDaniel, the sophomore, to lead it off for the Huskies against the freshman Georgina Korick here in the second. And we were talking in the bottom of the first, Cindy, about the experience versus youth. We've seen that matchup, and so far the veteran teams have been successful on that. You can't teach experience, but if you're UConn, you're a young team, you can also use that to your advantage and say, hey, we're the 8th seed. Nobody expects us to win this game. We're the underdog. Let's play loose and have some fun, right?
Well, and I think that there is value in the fact that sometimes when you have a lack of experience, you don't play as if you have anything to lose. UConn truly doesn't have anything to lose here. They're the team that comes in without any expectation, and they can upset a team like USF that when they do have the experience, sometimes you can walk into a game with a little bit of entitlement. Not necessarily that's what USF's MO is going to be in this ball game, but it can happen. And so I think that there's some value in the fact that regardless of whether you are experienced or inexperienced, you can make it work to your advantage depending on what your perspective is.
2-2 the count to McDaniel here in the top of the second inning. Corrick, the co-pitcher of the year, delivers. And McDaniel drops a base hit into left field. A leadoff single for McDaniel, and the first hit of the ball game belongs to the Huskies here in the second inning.
That's a really good piece of hitting from Kiwi McDaniel. She sees the ball well, is able to square that up, gets her, that's a nice low pitch, right? That's right at her knees, so she's able to control her barrel, goes down and gets that ball and drives into the gap. That's well done. And Kiwi McDaniel, I mean, not a surprise that she's going to be a contributor for this Husky team, right? She's the first on the team in RBIs. She wants to pull the ball, but she's also disciplined at the plate, and we saw that perfect example right there in her execution.
You see Olivia Sapington hitting, the freshman, 266 home runs, 20 RBIs. She swings and misses, and the count is a ball and a strike. She leads the team in home runs, slugging .411, which is second on the ball club behind Marcelino. McDaniel's at first base. She's 1 for 1 this year in steals. Corrick delivers. There's a bunt attempt, and it's foul. And now the count is 1-2.
So we've seen some great bunting game, and we've seen some poor bunting game, and what that can do to the further execution and crossing that most critical 60 feet from third to home. So often we see bunting as an eyesore, something that teams can't do well. We saw Memphis do it really well this past game, this third game today that we've called, and it looks like Sappington right now is going to change her game plan a little bit. But in terms of that sack bunt, so important that you contribute in the event that that's called by your coach and have that unselfish at bat. That's why it's called a sacrifice.
1-2. Up and in, 2-2, the count.
So Sappington leads the team with 6 home runs. She has the most walks, and she is she's going to have a lot of power, especially on pitches on the inside corner. So this is exactly who you want up in this situation, because if she's able to hit behind her runner here, pretty much anything she does at this point is going to be behind her runner. And if she's able to capitalize on the depth of this USF outfield, she might be able to bring home another speedy Husky.
2-2 the count as Corrick delivers. And she jams her and pops it up. Coming in to make the catch is Lauren Evans from the first base side to get the first out of the inning. As Georgina did a nice job pitching there to get a jam, to get a pop up there. And that'll be 1 out in the inning. And Chloe Kearns, the sophomore, will come to the plate. Kearns, the right-handed hitter. It's amazing to see all these freshmen and sophomores as I look at the lineup card here. Unbelievable. You have Kelly Bates and Nakama, who are the only upperclassmen in the lineup. Bates is a junior. Ryan is the senior, second baseman. There's a bunt attempt there. It's 1-1. Everybody else in this lineup is freshman or sophomore. That's 7 of the 9. That is amazing. An amazing young lineup that Jen McIntyre is building this program up. And a ball and a strike to count. And it's fouled back. And I know you mentioned it earlier in the game about the success that UConn has in women athletics. Of course, women's basketball is well documented with Gino Auriemma and the job he's done. But women's soccer has had tremendous success. They've won American Conference championships in the past. And Coach McIntyre believes they could be successful in softball despite the dealing with weather in the Northeast. As that pitch is inside corner, strike three, looking as Coric gets the strikeout of Kearns for the second out here in the second inning.
And I want to come back to that, the note, but this is actually maybe the second or third watched strikeout. We have not seen very many non-swinging strikeouts today, which I actually love, because that means that everyone's in their at-bats, they're taking their hacks. But just a really well-placed pitch there by Coric. Again, Coric's not going to blow the ball by you, right? She's throwing lower 60s, but she moves the ball really well. She keeps the ball low. Again, her presence, I think, is a little bit deceiving out there. And, she's so tall and she moves the ball so well that, you can sometimes confuse someone's size for them throwing a little bit harder.
A ball and a strike to count to Devin Casasso, the sophomore catcher. It's Georgina Coric on the 1-1. Swing and a miss. The count is 1-2. And Coric is strike away from getting out of the second inning against this young Huskies team. But I mentioned all the success in women athletics. Of course, baseball for UConn. Coach Penders, another great year with UConn baseball. They're in the position to possibly host in the baseball regionals. They're in the mix for the regular season title. As that ball is line drive near right by where Coach Erickson's at. And everybody seems to be okay. And the count remains 1-2. But that tells you, there's a chance to success. And Coach McIntyre believes that they can do that. I know they're working on getting a new stadium that's going to be built real in the near future. And they believe that the future is bright here at Storrs, Connecticut for softball.
Well, and it should be. Softball is one of those sports right now that is absolutely lighting the United States on fire.
And Coric lighting it up with a strikeout on fire there to end the inning, showing why she's the co-pitcher of the year. We head to the bottom of the second. No score between the Bulls and the Huskies here on ADN.
When learning creates leaders, ideas are ignited, focus gets sharper, and service connects generations. We commit our expertise to heal, to discover, and to drive our region forward to a brighter tomorrow. East Carolina University. Tomorrow starts here.
Welcome back here. We head to the bottom of the second inning. You see some of the Bulls fans in attendance. This field is very unique. Of course, for anybody that hasn't been here, you see Ken Erickson, of course, played baseball here at USF. He's been the head coach of the Bulls for over 20 seasons, but played baseball here. Of course, his softball stadium is right next to it with his baseball stadium. It's a combined complex. It's Samantha Worrell, the junior, swings and misses. But, of course, Coach Erickson, who's also the national head coach of the United States national team that'll be trying to qualify for the Summer Olympics this summer in Japan. So there's not a busier coach in the country than Ken Erickson, who's building his Bulls program and, of course, coaching the U.S. national team at the same time. So there he is, part of the coaching staff of the year in the American Conference, looking to get the Bulls back into the NCAA tournament. Of course, they were there in 2016. The 0-2 is outside, and always a great sense of humor when I talk to him. I asked to congratulate him about winning the coaching staff of the year. He's like, really, they should rename it. It's really my coaching staff with Coach Erickson. He's like, give me the credit to all the staff there, the assistants. They win despite me. He's a really good joker there, as Sam Worrell fouls it off.
And I think that's great that he has that sense of humor, but there's a lot of truth to what he says. A head coach has to be great at delegating. You can't take it all on yourself. You have to allow the assistant coaches that you've generally had a heavy hand in hiring do what you've trusted them to do and say the things that are in line with the standards you're setting for your program.
Worrell hits a grounder to short. The throw to first is in time to get the first out of the inning. Marcelino makes the play. Look at Brianna Marcelino. just a tremendous athlete here, Sydney. Look how big she is, got great length, range, just a freshman shortstop. This is the future of UConn softball, and talking to the UConn people, they're excited about her.
Oh, and they should be. She's contributed not only on the defensive side of things, but we talked about how great she's been offensively. Been a mainstay in that leadoff spot, able to set the table for UConn more often than not. And, you know, she comes in, she boasts the highest batting average for this UConn team at 279. So, you know, and not a single UConn player, I might add, has is above 300. I mean, they are in the work right now. They are doing the work as best they can, but it's still interesting to see how they've still been able to be successful within those numbers.
Macy Cook at the plate. Cook is the regular catcher when it's not Sam Worrell, and she fouls it off, and the count is 1-2. In fact, Cook got moved at the last minute. This is always some of the interesting quirks. They originally had Worrell slated at the catcher position. They made the switch. Cook is at the catching position with Worrell at the DP. So they sometimes will do that as Cook swings and misses as Stockley pulled the strings on that pitch to get the strikeout. 2 outs here in the second inning.
And we see Stockley wielding that off speed really well, and she sells it well with her body, right? Nothing slows down. There's no indication that that ball is going to come out of her hand any differently in terms of velocity.
So Georgina Korick at the plate, making her 5th start. She's had 7 at-bats this year. So getting some at-bats here late in the year, trying to give them a different look. The young freshman out of Sanford, Florida, trying to become a two-way player. And she swings and misses there, and the count is 1-1. It's amazing we've had that with Savannah Huebner, can hit and pitch. Bailey Lang at Wichita State. It talks about, you've touched on this throughout the day, every program, they got great athletes here. And it's one of the reasons why, many reasons, this conference is the 4th strongest in college softball. You're seeing top-notch talent coming into this league. And this league is going to be a top 4, top 5 league, I think, for years to come. I don't think this is a one-year deal. If people think that, they're going to be mistaken.
Well, and I think that there's something within that, too, Eric, and that there is, we'll talk about it next inning.
Korick just struck out as Stockley, just pulling the strings on her pitches with back-to-back strikeouts. Sends us to the top of the 3rd. No score between the Bulls and the Huskies here in the American Softball Championships.
Wichita State University is Shocker Nation. We exceed expectations, push boundaries, seize opportunities, and move boldly ahead. We are student-centered and innovation-driven. It's who we are. Our vision is simple but powerful. Create, innovate, collaborate, and celebrate. With one unifying purpose: to shock the world.
7,000 student athletes rising to become champions in 21 different sports at 13 esteemed institutions across 11 states. 360,000 students and 2.6 million alumni rise up in celebration of a Power 6 conference known as the American.
Top of the 3rd inning here in Tampa, Florida. Here are the American Softball Championships on ADN. 4th and final game of the day. The 1 seed, the regular season champion USF Bulls against the UConn Huskies. As Ryan Nakuma swings and fouls it off against Georgina Korick. Just finished the thought. You talk about the evolution. The players, there are more talented athletes here that's been brought into this conference, which has helped it be the 4th in the conference. We're seeing that across the country. Better athletes are playing now in college softball. Even more maybe better athletes than when you were playing, as that's a comebacker to Korick. And we'll throw to first in time to get the first out of the inning. But that's a big part. The exposure has grown, more games televised, and better athletes are playing now. And more players want to get involved in softball, not just be a pitcher, because it used to be, hey, I just want to be a pitcher if I want to play softball. Now they want to be hitters as well.
Well, and that's a major factor, too, is that you're seeing a better brand of athlete coming through these programs and choosing softball and playing at this elite level. Now, I think what's important to note, too,
There's a ground out to third. Is 2 quick outs by Coric. She gets Guevara for the second out of the inning. We'll go to the top of the order, and Marcelino will come to the plate.
Well, I think what's important to note, too, is the fact that, again, we are, and we noted this in previous broadcasts, we are in the most advanced technological time. So athletes are now getting the exposure to the best nutrition, the best strength and conditioning, the best equipment, especially in a sport like softball with the composite bats. And so you're seeing athletes start to take advantage of the things that have improved even since I was a player. And I'm really not that far out. So I think it is important to take note of all the things that are a contributing factor in these athletes.
Marcelino grounds out to Devin at second, who throws to first in a fast 1-2-3 inning for Coric. And the Bulls, as we send to the bottom of the third inning. Still no score between the Huskies and the Bulls here in the American Softball Championships on ADN.
Welcome into the ADN studio. Hope your week is off to a great start. Thanks for tuning in to an all-new episode of The Rise.
And Mike Hughes, the kicker to beat. Do you believe it? Kareem Bruton Jr. for the win. Yes! The American Conference Championship. Bernie scores.
The next biggest game is our biggest game, and we've been doing that all year.
A game like this, you got to want to win the game. We get to the point to where, okay, we're all scratching the itch, waiting for college football to start.
How impressive is it that both of these programs have been here the last 4 years?
This ball is launched out and beyond left field. Bohm gets around on this one, up the line, that's fair.
I couldn't be prouder. I mean, this conference has just performed beyond anyone's expectations.
Bottom of the third inning, Brooke Hartman will lead it off here for the Bulls. Their leader in home runs, 269 average, 10 homers, 32 RBIs. As the Bulls and the Huskies here in the bottom of the third, in the fourth and final quarterfinal game of the American Softball Championships here today in day one. The winner to take on Memphis in the semis tomorrow as Hartman takes a strike from Jill Stockley. And Sydney, you've been impressed here so far early on from what you've seen from Jill Stockley and her motion.
That's true, and we talked about in the UCF game about the differences in the recruiting types and the type of pitcher and their motion that we're seeing from UCF pitchers. They're all cut from the same cloth, usually very similar mentality, and their motions are no nonsense. What you're seeing from Stockley, she has a little bit of extra movement, right? So a little bit jerkier, not quite as smooth. Now, a couple reasons that works to her advantage is a little bit distracting. So all that extra movement, it takes away from the rhythm that a hitter can set for themselves. Now, on the flip side, if she's doing all that extra movement consistently, it can be hard when she has thrown a lot of pitches to consistently keep pitch to pitch, keeping the same motion.
Count is 2-2. Here's a replay of the motion you're talking about.
So it doesn't look like there's a whole lot going on there, and it's mostly from the front, but there's a lot of...
Hartman with a single to left field. The first hit of the game for the Bulls belongs to Brooke Hartman to start the Bulls' third inning on the single. Not much of a motion there, Sydney, and Stockley gets burned with a hit.
No, and you know what? Here's the thing. We were so busy talking about Stockley, we didn't even pay credit to Hartman. What I love about Hartman is that all season long, she's come in the clutch, especially with her home run power, right? She's been that firepower, and when she pulls the trigger, she's done it in some clutch situations that have resulted in some major wins that have resulted in a conference championship. So she is integral to the firepower here at USF.
Cassidy Boyle at the plate, showed bunt, pulls back, takes ball one, 1-0 the count from Stockley. And so Hartman, who's really maybe arguably the most improved player of the Bulls team, was basically a platoon player last year, didn't get a lot of starts. This year is their leader in home runs at 10. She's at first base. 1-0 count to Cassidy Boyle. Boyle pulls the bat back, takes ball 2, 2-0 the count. And sometimes you kind of show that bunt just to draw the defense in, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, there's a little bit of strategy there, a little bit of gamesmanship. She might be looking to, with 0 outs on the board here, perfect time to have a sacrifice bunt, or even if you're showing bunt there, it might be a little bit of a timing mechanism depending on how hard Stockley's throwing. Now again, Stockley's not blowing it by this USF squad, but she does have good movement. And it's going to be important to, even if she isn't throwing as hard, your timing is just going to be just as important, that you don't slow your swing down as a hitter in the event that a pitcher's not throwing as hard as what you're used to seeing.
Boyle tries to bunt, but pops it up in the air down the net side, behind home plate and towards a little bit the right side of the first baseline. And the count is 2-2 to Cassidy Boyle, the senior. With Hartman at first base, nobody out here in the bottom of the third. No score between the Huskies and the Bulls. Stockley, the junior, sets and delivers. And that's a high chopper. It's going to be over the head of Cutler as she knocks it down, but that will be a hit for Cassidy Boyle, and the Bulls have their first threat of the ball game, first and second, and nobody out here in the third. Not much Cutler can do on that play. That ball is a high hopper. And I think even if she was able to somehow come up with that, that was going to be a tough play.
And it looks like she might have gotten caught in the sun just at that last minute. And again, that's going to be one of those uncontrollable factors. How many steps as a third baseman do I know that I have to take back? Then all of a sudden I know I'm going to need to put my hand up or use my glove even to block where the sun is. That's going to be a major factor too, and especially keeping the ball in front. That's going to be half the battle and making sure we're not giving up extra bases.
2 on, nobody out for the Bulls as there's a visit in the circle to kind of regroup again. This UConn team, I know it's a broken record. 14 of the 18 players on this roster, freshmen or sophomores. So you almost, this is all brand new for a lot of these Huskies players in this situation, in this environment. As Jasmine Haynes, the freshman for the Bulls, will come in here. She's a slap hitter, so she's definitely a threat to bunt here. Try to advance the 2 runners into score position. She squares up and gets the bunt down. Cutler will have no play, although the umpire is going to call her out for being out of the box.
We're going to have to take a look at that again.
And Ken Erickson will have a word with the home plate umpire. We've seen that call earlier today, Sydney. Again, and I'll let you kind of explain the rule, the batter being out of the box. Well, that's where they called Haynes, and that's a big out because the runners go back. It's first and second and 1 out.
Yeah, the batter cannot step out of the box and make contact. So, she does step out of the box. That's a very good call. And we've seen that all day long, and they've been very diligent calling that particular play. We've seen it a number of times so far today, probably at least twice, maybe 3 or 4 times.
And Lauren Evans pops it up on the first pitch to the infield. The catch is made by the second baseman, Ryan Nakama. And that is 2 outs just like that. What a turn of events.
And talk about UConn making the most out of a gift that they've been given by a USF miscue. 2 quick outs on the board here. Little bit of a shift in momentum that we're seeing, and seeing a little bit of a different body language there from Jill Stockley.
Donovan at the plate, strike 1. And the count is 0-1 the count to Donovan. So the senior stepping in here, 2 on, 2 outs. Here in the bottom of the third inning. There's Stockley. The junior steps in here and delivers the first pitch. Or the 0-1 pitch, and it's low. UConn, look at Stockley and company. 2 years ago, they played against UCF in the quarterfinal game, lost a 3-2 game. Last year, they lost to Houston in the quarterfinals in Greenville. In 2015, UConn was out early. They're still looking for that first tournament win. They haven't won a conference tournament game since 2008 when they were a member of the Big East, and they beat Syracuse. They lost to UCF in the 2014 American Conference Championship quarterfinal. But they've been close the last couple of years. Their pitching has gotten better with pitchers like Stockley. It was down in the count 2-1 to Donovan. And Donovan takes ball 3. In fact, UConn's ERA as a staff, 3.15 this year. It's the best that any UConn team has had since 2010. So that tells you, I think, and their staff has had the most strikeouts for a pitching staff in UConn softball since 2009. So the arms are there. They're getting there as the 3-1. And Donovan hits a high fly ball to deep left field, but the catch is made by Kelly Bates to end the inning near the left center warning track. The second big defensive play that Bates has made in this game keeps us scoreless through 3 innings here at the American Softball Championships on ADN.
other people just like you. Driven, determined. Those who use passion to spark creation. Others who are ready to unite and discover together. It all starts with you and continues with us, the University of South Florida.
Power comes in all forms.
Power is a big tackle,
A big save.
A clutch hit.
And a game-winning shot.
Power is also standing up for what is right.
Power is respecting an opponent, officials,
student athletes, coaches, and team representatives.
Power is not tolerating racial or ethnic comments.
Profanities or other improper actions.
While at the game. Be American.
Power.
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 Power for life.
There you see Kelly Bates, the left fielder for the Huskies. Very fitting that she will lead it off for UConn here in the fourth inning after a great catch in left field off Aston Donovan. She's made two great defensive plays at left field today. And she swings to the first pitch and hits it right back to Corrick, who will throw to first in time for the first out here in the top of the fourth inning. But Bates has done a great job. That was a big play because if that ball drops in the gap, that's a couple runs for the Bulls.
Oh, huge play there by Bates. And what I love most is that, we've seen a very similar ball hit there by a number of teams today. And Bates, perfect example about what knowing the field that you're playing on, so knowing the field's depth and dimensions looks like, and getting a great read. She's really comfortable turning her back and going towards the fence and taking her eye off the ball for that split second. So key as an outfielder when you're playing on fields that have different dimensions and in clutch situations like this, that you're able to be comfortable taking your eye off the ball and knowing where everything is.
Cutler grounds out to short as Boyle was there. And two outs here in the top of the fourth inning. So that'll bring up Kiwi McDaniel, who has the only Huskies hit so far in this game. UConn has one hit in this ballgame, no runs, one hit, no errors. USF has no runs, two hits, and no errors here in the top of the fourth. And it's been a broken record, Cindy, but we talked about runs are going to be a premium in this championship. One of the many reasons this league's the fourth best conference in the sport is everybody's got great arms. I mean, we've seen it today from, of course, Emily Watson at Tulsa, Bailey Lang at Wichita State. We've seen it with Savannah Hebner, the pitcher of the year, co-pitcher of the year. Erin Pepping, the young freshman with a lot of promise for ECU. Aaliyah White with UCF. What a job with 25 wins this season. Molly Smith, who picked up her 12th shutout of the year, top 5 in the country. Corrick, just a freshman, co-pitcher of the year. And Stockley, we got arms galore in this league.
Well, and there's an important piece to note there, too, that the elevation of the level of pitching that we're seeing in this conference also forces the offenses to follow suit, right? So there's a consistent elevation, a consistent challenging from team to team, that if the conference is going to be as dominant with pitching as they are, that they are going to have to step their game up with offense, and that is going to not only be a reflection within the offensive numbers within the league, but the offensive numbers for these programs as a whole.
McDaniel swings away and fouls it off, and the count is 3-2. And it's one of the reasons why this league has had major wins in the conference. USF, of course, has beaten Michigan out of the conference, who won the Big Ten title. UConn has beaten Texas A&M. You've got teams like UCF who beat Florida, who's the SEC champion. I mean, wins top to bottom. Wichita State's beaten Oklahoma State. They've beaten Arkansas, who's in the semifinals of the SEC tournament. You name it, top to bottom. East Carolina's beaten James Madison, who won the Colonial Conference. This league has beaten the best teams, and arms is a big part of it. Better athletes. We'll see what happens on Selection Sunday. This league, of course, could get up to as many as 4 to 5 bids, depending on how things shape up. But the future of this league, and that's the thing that's amazing, you got a kid like Corrick, who's just a freshman. Stockley's just a junior. Aaliyah White, who we saw for UCF, she's just a sophomore. She doesn't act like one. She's very mature for her young age, but she's a sophomore with a lot of upside. And on and on. This league is just stacked. For not only this year's been stacked, but for the future to come, as McDaniel, a sophomore herself, draws a 2-out walk. And she's gotten on base twice now for the Huskies against Georgina Corrick.
And really great discipline from Kiwi McDaniel. She's the type of player that's going to attack pitches to her strength. consistently, right? She does not let pitches that she hits well go by, and she's very disciplined there to draw that walk.
Stapleton now at the plate. And swings and fouls it off. You're seeing that in the recruiting class. We talked about East Carolina had a top 30 recruiting class that is playing this year for them, so they're youngsters. UCF has a top 25, top 30 recruiting class coming in for next season to add to this young team that they already have this upcoming year that's won 34 games with wins against Florida and Long Beach State. UConn, this is their one of the, talking to them, they feel this is their best class that they've been able to bring in here, and they're getting kids from California, which is a rich state, as you know, for talent in softball. Houston's getting talent from their area. So it just top to bottom, recruiting, coaching, players, athletes better. It's just a top to bottom here. And of course, you got facilities like this one where we're at here at the USF Softball Stadium. You got some good facilities now that also helps in the sport here.
Oh yeah, it helps with recruiting, and you're really going to get a lot of talent coming out of states like California, Texas, Florida. And not to hate on any other states in the union, but what I want to draw your attention to is the fact that not only is there a concentration of great athletes, but it's also partial to the weather. When you can play a sport all year round, that makes a huge difference in the amount of reps you're getting. And we know for softball, for example, it takes 300 swings a day to maintain a great swing. 300 swings a day. That is a incredible number that not even college players necessarily get that type of reps. So you can imagine that getting those reps in when you're younger, before you're at this elite level, makes a big difference in that recruiting process and ultimately in your skill by the time you get to college.
3 balls, 2 strikes to count. Runner at first, 2 outs. Corrick delivers. That pitch fouled off, and Stapleton, just a redshirt freshman, staying able to stay alive here in the top of the 4th inning. And a no score. The winner of this game to take on Memphis in the semifinals tomorrow at 4:30 Eastern. The first semifinal tomorrow will be at 2 o'clock, Tulsa and Houston. A rematch of the American Softball Championship game last year in Greenville, won by Tulsa 1-0. The 3-2 pitch. Oh, that hit off her foot, and Olivia's down, and I hope she's all right. And she's going to try and walk it off. And she's battling here against the freshman Corrick here in the 4th inning. Again, our semifinal coverage starts tomorrow, 2 o'clock. With Tulsa and Houston. So look at this replay right here. And oof.
She gets on the outside of a pitch that's sort of on the inside. It's obviously Corrick tried to throw it down the middle so it would move on into the inside corner underneath the hands of Sappington.
Sappington hits one to deep right field. That ball is going, and it's foul. Wow, there is an example of Olivia showing her power. She hit 6 home runs this year, and that ball was a couple of feet away to the left side of being a 2-run homer.
Well, and we noted that she is going to have power when she pulls the ball. Major difference maker. Did not pull the ball on her first at bat, right? She was able to put it in the left field gap.
And she hits one into right field, but the catch is being made there by Anna Marie Bruni to retire the side. No runs, no hits, no errors, 1 left on. We're through 3.5 here in Tampa. Still no score between the Huskies and the Bulls here on ADN.
When learning creates leaders, ideas are ignited, focus gets sharper, and service connects generations. We commit our expertise to heal, to discover, and to drive our region forward to a brighter tomorrow. East Carolina University. Tomorrow starts here.
Welcome back there. You see some of the Memphis coaching staff, Natalie Poole, right there as well underneath, looking at the phone as the Tigers were victorious earlier today, a 3-0 win over UCF to advance into the semifinals. They're scouting this game because they'll play the winner of this game tomorrow at 4:30. Stockley goes to work against Lindsay Devitt, who fouls off the first pitch. Devitt, Worrell, and Macy Cook, 3-4-5 to hit for the Bulls against Stockley here in the bottom of the fourth. But how about Natalie Poole and her Tigers and her veteran team, Molly Smith, phenomenal performance, getting the shutout to get the Tigers to the semifinals for the second consecutive year. There's the 0-1. And to put that in perspective, last year when they beat USF to get to that semifinal, it was the program's first win in a conference tournament game since the 2010 Conference USA tournament. But now they've done it 2 years in a row, and I guarantee you they were expecting now to win games. Or sometimes you're like, man, I hope we can win a conference tournament game. Now they expect to win it. Now they're trying to think about the next step, and that's trying to get to that elusive conference championship game appearance, which has not happened with the program, as that count is 1 and 2. So you're seeing steps here and building blocks before our very eyes with this Memphis program.
And I think, too, you've made us present to something really incredible that's going on within that Memphis program, and the fact that they are defining what it means to be a part of that Memphis Tiger program, to be a Memphis Tiger. And I think that Natalie Poole, obviously, she's the conductor there. She's going to be the one that's setting that standard. And what she has been building for the past 7 years, we are starting to see pay off majorly for that program. And it wouldn't surprise me if next year they come out guns a-blazing with a great...
Devitt gets a bloop single here to start the Bulls' bottom of the fourth inning. And that will certainly get to see what happens with the Bulls here, as that'll bring up Sam Worrell to the plate. They do lose Molly Smith and they lose a couple of veterans, but you see the youngsters they have with the Bailey Smith and Delaney Smith. You're right, the future is very bright with Memphis. They got that mix of that, a lot of experience, but a young talent there that they're building it and learning how to win and get back. They were in the NCAA tournament back in the day in 2010, 2011, but it's been a drought. But they've been patient with Natalie Poole, and it's paying off with her hard work. And Sam Worrell takes for a ball, 1-0 the count. And, you know, you talked about UConn and their success in women athletics. Memphis has had a great women's soccer program.
No, yes.
They've been a conference championship contender, even as recent as the American Conference. And so they've gotten success as well, as the 1-0 to Sam Worrell is a ball, and it's 2-0 the count. And, of course, men's basketball is a huge program at Memphis. Penny Hardaway, the new head coach there. The football program with Mike Norville, they're taking that program to the next level. So Memphis as an athletic department is really taking that next step. It used to be they were just a basketball school. At least that was the perception from people outside of Memphis. As Worrell pops it up to short as Marcelino comes to the plate. And I think what we're seeing with Memphis, and you're seeing it with UConn, all these athletic departments are putting a premium and importance on all sports, and especially softball, investing in softball. And that's why I think you're seeing a lot of the success across the board.
And I don't think that you can have success in an athletic department anymore without investing in women's sports. Yes, of course. Are there going to be sports that are always going to bring in money? Yes, football, basketball, baseball, sure. But you're now starting to see a shift in the fact that it's impressive to watch these young women. It always has been impressive, but people are starting to become present to the fact that how great these young female athletes are, and they're finally getting the nod that they deserve. Well, you're seeing that all across the board.
Cook grounds out here to second base. They get the force out at second, so there's 2 outs. And it looks like they're going to pinch hit for Korek here. Coach Erickson is going to go to the bench here with a runner at first, or is he going to be a pinch runner? It might be a pinch runner that he's going to do. He's not going to do the pinch hitter. He's going to go the pinch runner, and that's exactly what he's going to do. He's going to go with a pinch runner here. Is Anna Marie Bruni, who will pinch run in this situation. With Korek at the plate, hitting for herself. But you mentioned facilities. Me and Haley Allen was there last year at East Carolina. They have a phenomenal softball stadium.
They do. It's beautiful.
Where the players have, raved about it, and East Carolina invested in their athletic department. Great softball stadium. They hosted last year, did a great job, and so you're seeing that. USF has invested here. It just goes top to bottom, and it's great to see, and you hope it continues to grow and the support continues. Runner goes, that's a strike. The throw to second is not in time, and a steal by Bruni. The ball squirts away. She's going to take off for third, and she'll get there. Heads-up base running by Bruni coming in there, and once the ball squirted out, she's like, I'm going to take third, and was successful.
And there you go. I mean, you see how valuable Anna Marie Bruni is in this lineup. There's a reason she's in there defensively. May not have been contributing offensively, but there she is, contributing for her team in the only offensive opportunity she may get this game, taking not only one base, but two in one pitch. That is going to make a major difference maker.
So now, with a runner at third, the count is 1-1. And it is going to be a pinch hitter here now. We're going to have a pinch hitter. Kelsey Lay will pinch hit here in this spot for Corrick. So Coach Erickson deciding to go with a pinch hitter here during a 1-1 count. You don't see that often, but he wanted to wait to see what the situation is. Now that there's a runner in scoring position, he decides to go and use that pinch hitter. And that pitch is low. And part of that is I don't think he wanted to burn a pinch hitter if the runner is not in scoring position. But since Bruni has gotten to third base, he decides, you know what? In this game, the way both pitchers are throwing, I got to use Kelsey Lay here in this situation.
Yeah. And you got to tip your hat. I mean, Kelsey Lay coming in, the average pinch hitter is going to fail 85% of the time, right? So a hitter that hits $150 is not necessarily somebody that's going to work their way into the lineup. Kelsey Lay coming in here in an incredibly difficult situation, a runner in scoring position, 2 outs. Again, thrown into the pressure cooker. No big deal for the sophomore. And it's going to be interesting to see if she can perform, especially since it was in the middle of an at-bat.
Pitch is fouled off. If Bruni doesn't get to on base there, I think Corrick would have continued to hit. But once she got into scoring position, I think he decided I want to use Kelsey Lay here in an opportunity here with a runner in scoring position in third base. The count is 2-2, and Stockley delivers off speed. A nice job by Lay to foul it off and stay alive. So the wheels are in motion here. Bottom of the fourth. No score between USF and UConn. A good one here. Here in Tampa, Florida, is what has been a really fun day. Competitive softball all day long. This is the fourth and final quarterfinal game of the day. The winner to take on Memphis tomorrow in the semis. And the 2-2 is again fouled off, and Lay battling here. Came in with a 1-1 count and is staying alive and battling here with the count 2-2.
Well, and there's a reason that they're going to her, and it wouldn't surprise me if Lay is the type of player that they've been able to go to all season long. And, you know, showing your depth of bench, being able to have somebody who can be an effective pinch hitter is an incredible tool to be able to wield as a coach and as a program.
Lay hits it to short. Marcelino will go to first in time to retire the side, and Jill Stockley gets through the fourth inning and holds the Bulls scoreless. We're scoreless through 4 here in Tampa in the American Softball Championships on ADN.
Wichita State University is Shocker Nation. We exceed expectations, push boundaries, seize opportunities, and move boldly ahead. We are student-centered and innovation-driven. It's who we are. Our vision is simple, powerful. Create, innovate, collaborate, and celebrate. With one unifying purpose: to shock the world.
7,000 student athletes rising to become champions in 21 different sports at 13 esteemed institutions across 11 states. 360,000 students and 2.6 million alumni rise up in celebration of a Power 6 conference known as the American.
In top of the fifth inning here in Tampa, Florida. You see what a beautiful scene there in Tampa, Florida, ladies and gentlemen. Nice weather here. Beautiful. You see the Sun Dome in the backdrop where the basketball team plays and volleyball. We're here for softball this week. Top of the fifth, a good one here. UConn and USF scoreless. As Chloe Kern swings at the first pitch and drops one in the right, and a catch is made!
Beautiful.
Aston Donovan, the center fielder, lunges and flies to make the catch and rob Kearns of a hit. 1 out here in the fifth.
Oh my God, let's take a look at that ball again. Well hit. Aston Donovan doing everything she can to put a glove on that ball and absolutely flawlessly executed there. Tip your hat to Chloe Kearns for a well hit ball, but God, really true credit goes to Aston Donovan for saving Georgina Corrick's bacon.
That's a double if that ball drops at least.
Oh yeah.
In a game like this, that's huge. And how about some of the defensive plays we've seen today? Unbelievable. From Tori Stratford, the first baseman for Tulsa, set the tone early with a couple of great plays in the foul territory at first base in the first game.
We saw an incredible play from Brooke Lee from Memphis.
Yep. And a swing and a miss here by Devin Cassasu.
And we've seen some great plays by Bates here from UConn, showing how it's done to get a proper read on a ball hit to left field.
A ball into 2 strikes. It's high-level softball. It's postseason time. This is a far cry from the regular season meeting between these two teams. These two teams open against each other on this field. Their Open American Conference play. USF was successful. They swept UConn, and they had their way with the Huskies. But not tonight. Tonight's been a very even ball game. And there's a grounded at third. Hartman is there. Will throw to first in time. And there are 2 down here in the 5th inning. And that just shows, that's why it's a new day, right? They always say that. UConn did not have success here in the opening weekend in conference play. USF played at a very high level and swept UConn. But today, it's a new game, new day, and it's a completely different ball game than any of those games up in Tampa back on March 23rd and 24th weekend. There's Nakama at the plate now with no one on and 2 outs. As Corrick, the co-pitcher of the year, delivers inside for a ball. 1-1 the count. No runs, 1 hit, 1 error for the Huskies. No runs, 3 hits, and no errors for the Bulls. Here in the top of the 5th inning. The 1-1 outside. 2-1 the count.
And Nakama being the lone senior in this lineup, as most of her contributing over there defensively at second base.
She gets jammed, pops it up in foul territory, and it's off the net here at third base, as Hartman was giving it a look as well as Cook. Yeah, you said a senior. There's only 4 players that are not freshman or sophomore in this UConn roster for Jen McIntyre in her 4th season.
And talk about the player development that she's doing over there in Connecticut.
That one is outside, and the count is full, 3-2. Part of this young team growing, the program growing. Battling here against the regular season champions. If you wanted to know about how deep this league is, and it's the 4th rated conference, you had 6 teams with 30 wins or more this year. And the 3-2 pitch foul up. And here you are with the 1 seed against the 8 seed, and we're in the top of the 5th, scoreless with 2 outs in the 5th inning. That doesn't tell you the competitiveness of this league from top to bottom. I don't know what will right here. Unbelievable depth.
Well, and again, I love that there's an opportunity for UConn to come back and redeem themselves.
The grounded is second. Devitt will throw to first in time, and Corrick with a 2-3 inning in the 5th, aided by her center fielder, Aston Donovan, who made a tremendous catch. We are through 4.5 in Tampa, still scoreless here on ADN.
Welcome in to the ADN studio. Hope your week is off to a great start. Thanks for tuning in to an all-new episode of The Rise.
And Mike Hughes, the kicker to beat. Do you believe it? Kareem Bruton Jr. for the win. Yes! The American Conference Championship. Bernie scores.
The next biggest game is our biggest game, and we've been doing that all year.
A game like this, you got to want to win the game. We get to the point to where, okay, we're all scratching the itch, waiting for college football to start.
How impressive is it that both of these programs have been here the last 4 years?
This ball is launched out and beyond left field. Bohm gets around on this one, up the line, that's fair.
I couldn't be prouder. I mean, this conference has just performed beyond anyone's expectations.
Bottom of the 5th here at the USF Softball Stadium. No score between the Bulls and the Huskies. You see some of the fans here, good turnout. Maybe some of them surprised with where we're at right now. No score between the regular season champion Bulls and the 8th seed Connecticut Huskies. Eric Lopez alongside Sidney Gerbach. Brooke Hartman to lead it off for the Bulls. It'll be Hartman, Boyle, and Haynes, the scheduled hitters, against Jill Stockley. And the first pitch is ball 1 to Hartman, who singled in her first at-bat. 1 for 1 tonight. One of the 3 Bulls hits tonight. Stockley, the junior, delivers, and that's a grounded to second. Backhanded by, and a nice play by Ryan during the first. 4-3 ground out. And Nakama, the senior, making the play at second to get the first out and retire Hartman. So 1 out. Cassidy Boyle will step in. As you look at the replay there, look at that play by the senior. Nice and easy, throwing out the first to get the out. And now Boyle, the senior, to come to the plate.
That's a well-hit ball there, and so Nakama has to make sure that she is keeping that ball in front any way that she knows how. She makes that play look easy, but we happen to know that it was hit well.
So Boyle with a 1-0 count. And that hit Boyle. And Cassidy Boyle will get on a hit by pitch here at the bottom of the 5th. When you got 2 pitchers that are throwing as well as Horick and Stockley, you just got to find a way to get on base, and that's what Boyle did.
And this is the time, right, to get runners on base. It doesn't matter what it looks like. It doesn't have to be pretty. It doesn't have to be traditional softball. Find a way to push runs across the plate, especially in the final hour. We have a lot of ball game left, but this, I mean, it's been 3 up, 3 down for these 2 teams. I mean, they have not been able to push runners across. I think there's maybe been an instance, maybe 1 inning that there's been a runner on third base. So that's going to be a major difference maker to when the execution time comes, who actually executes in the moment over the course of these next 3 innings.
Jasmine Haynes at the plate. Freshman here. Slap hitter, slaps it foul down to the Bulls dugout at third base, and the count is 0-1. The count with Boyle at first base. 1 out here in the bottom of the 5th. Of course, the American Softball Championships. Day 1, day 2 tomorrow, the semifinals. Busy weekend in the conference. The rowing championships start tomorrow. Track and field championships get going. The 0-1 is outside for a ball. 1-1 to count. Keep it on theamerica.org for all the latest. And of course, at the end of the month, May 22nd to the 26th, baseball championships in Clearwater. That's going to be tremendous. They're a top 4 league in the conference, so a big, strong finish in the spring. As Jasmine Haynes fouls it off. I envy Haley Outen because she's got to cover all this and keep track of it. I don't know how she does it, but she does. But she's seen a lot of tremendous sporting events here in the American Conference down the stretch here.
Absolutely a Wonder Woman, that Haley Outen. And you'll get to see her at the end of the game.
1-2. And a swing and a miss. Haynes foul tipped it, but it's a strikeout for Stockley. 2 outs here in the 5th. And this youngster, Stockley, getting the job done, gets the strikeout. So 2 outs. Lauren Evans to the plate with a runner at first and 2 outs.
USF coming up on their 3rd set of at-bats against Stockley. So ideally, this is the point offensively that you are going to be at your best. So Lauren Evans, having gone 0 for 2 so far, we talk a lot about numbers and how you can't necessarily tell everything by numbers, but Lauren Evans coming into this game hitting .295, this is where she ideally should be getting a hit. She should be able to put something in play here based on what we've seen from her statistics so far this season.
A ball and a strike to count to Evans, the senior here, with a runner at first and 2 outs. Here in the bottom of the 5th inning, Stockley looks at the sign from her catcher and delivers. Just missed away, ball 2. So 2-1 the count. What kind of adjustments do you expect the Bulls? You mentioned it's the 3rd time around. What do you expect? What adjustments would you make against Stockley? Is there answers? That's probably what both sides are trying to figure out right now.
Well, we've seen the USF lineup swing at everything that Stockley has thrown. Again, recommitting to a game plan and being disciplined enough to put the ball on the ground, right? So changing your bat path, making sure you have control of your barrel, and having that downward angle to your swing.
Here's a check swing, comebacker to Stockley. Will throw to first in time to get Evans and end the Bulls' threat in the 5th as Jill Stockley and Georgina Korick matching zeros. It's a pitcher's duel. We're through 5 here in Tampa. Still no score in the American Softball Championships on ADN.
There are other people just like you. Driven, determined. Those who use passion to spark creation. Others who are ready to unite and discover together. It all starts with you and continues with us, the University of South Florida.
Power comes in all forms.
Power is a big tackle,
a big save,
a clutch hit,
and a game-winning shot.
Power is also standing up for what is right.
Power is respecting an opponent, officials,
student athletes, coaches, and team representatives.
Power is not tolerating racial or ethnic comments,
profanities, or other improper actions
while at the game.
Be American.
Power.
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 Power for life.
Number 19, center fielder Reese Rivera.
Top of the 6th inning, still no score. No runs, 1 hit, 1 error for the Huskies. No runs, 3 hits, and no errors for the Bulls as Reese Guevara, the center fielder, to lead it off here, the freshman for the Huskies against Korick.
And really cool piece of information about Guevara. She's actually going to be playing for the Philippines national team, which is looking to get their bid to the 2020 Tokyo Olympics.
And she drills one into right field, and the catch is made by Bruni. Holy macro, Bruni with the catch as that ball was rocketed into right. And Bruni read it and made the catch for the first out of the inning. Wow.
And there we go. We saw Guevara's power. She hit that ball well. There's not much else she can do. I mean, and Bruni is able to. That ball actually might have left the park if Bruni had not leapt for it.
Unbelievable. The defensive plays, it's just remarkable from both sides.
Well, there you go. Reese Guevara, she's going to be playing for the Philippines national team. So a couple of players in this game going to be playing on the international stage. Very exciting. Again, just another nod to the prowess of this conference. A lot of these young players getting looks on and getting some international minutes, international innings.
Well, and we talked about earlier, Ken Erickson, the USF head coach, is the national coach for the United States team. The softball back in the Olympics in Tokyo, Japan in 2020, qualifying for the Olympics or this summer in Japan, the World Championships, and many qualifications as Marcelino gets jammed and pops it up, and Hartman makes the catch. Not an easy catch, but makes the catch for the second out of the inning. I think the impact with softball back in the Olympics, that's going to help grow the game with the international game, and I think more countries will now invest that maybe have stopped investing in the sport over the last, since 2008 when the Olympics softball was in the Olympics in Beijing, and they have not been there since.
Absolutely, and I think it's really cool that softball is getting that recognition, and you said it, Eric, grow the game.
And grow the game indeed as Korick gets Bates to retire the side with some help from a defensive play from Anna Marie Bruni. And at the end of 5.5 here in Tampa, we're still scoreless between the Bulls and the Huskies, the American Softball Championships on the American Digital Network.
When learning creates leaders, ideas are ignited, focus gets sharper, and service connects generations. We commit our expertise to heal, to discover, and to drive our region forward to a brighter tomorrow. East Carolina University. Tomorrow starts here.
See the sun set on a beautiful evening developing here in Tampa, Florida. And what a game developing here. The 8th-seeded UConn Huskies and the number 1 seed, the regular season champion USF Bulls, scoreless as we head to the bottom of the 6th. Eric Lopez alongside Cindy Gerback, and Jill Stockley has been a big reason why this game is still scoreless.
Well, and Stockley, I mean, we talked a little bit about how unique her motion is, right? And what I love about what she's been able to bring to the table, she does something at the end of a lot of her moving pitches, especially when she commits to that changeup and to her curveball too. She has almost what is considered a fake finish, and I think it's a little bit distracting to an offensive player, so that's working in her favor too. And it also is an indicator that she's on. When she's consistent with that last piece of her motion, that's when she's most effective.
The 0-1, Donovan slapped to short. It'll be a quick play to throw to first, not in time. Vintage Aston Donovan. That's why she's gotten over 200 hits in her career, by putting the ball in play, and Marcelino didn't charge into that one, and you knew Donovan was going to beat that out, and she does with the leadoff hit here in the 6th.
And you nailed it, Eric. That's exactly what Marcelino needed to do. We see her hesitate. We see her take a couple of those safety steps instead of charging the ball and deciding which bounce she's going to play it on and even throw it on the run. There's no way you can sit back on a ball like that and expect to get a player speedy as Aston Donovan out.
Lindsey Devitt at the plate, squaring, looking to bunt. Does bunt and gets it down. They'll throw to first in time to get the out. A nice job by Kearns throwing to first. That does advance Donovan to second base with 1 out here in the bottom of the 6th.
Take a look again here from Stockley and how she commits to that curveball.
And there was some of that movement you were talking about earlier in the game that she has in her style. Samantha Worrell, the junior, steps in with a runner at second and 1 out here in a scoreless ball game in the bottom of the 6th. And the first pitch to Worrell, low for a ball.
And I want to make sure that I give credit where credit is due. Chloe Kearns just exhibited some beautiful footwork on that last play. Eric, I know that you made us present to that, but this sort of softball that UConn is playing right now is exactly what they need to consistently do throughout these next couple of seasons to continue to build on what their legacy, where they want to leave their legacy.
All right, so you got a 2-0 count to Worrell here. It was a 278 hitter, 4 home runs. You got Macy Cook on deck who has 1 home run. If you're Stockley here, are you pitching around Worrell with the open base at first, or being at least extra careful because Worrell could beat you with 1 swing in the bat here?
That's true, but if I know the type of competitor that Stockley is, she's not gonna want to give anybody a free pass.
Not necessarily free, just be a little extra careful, with Worrell. You got the open base. It's an option. We'll see. It's a 2-1 count to Samantha Worrell.
You know what? And that's a good point. I will not speak for Stockley. She has her own strategy. I would go at her if it were me.
2-1.
Looks like she'll feel the same way.
Well, score that one for Cindy Gerback, 1, Eric Lopez 0. That's why you're the analyst. I'm just a talking head. 2-2 the count.
Well, and I love that Stockley's not backing down, regardless of what the season looked like and what their seed was. This is a totally different part of the game, totally different part of the season.
Grounder to third. Cutler throws to first. Now Donovan will take off for third with 2 outs here in the inning. She's very good at that. She has those instincts in the base path. She does that often throughout her career where she'll wait till the throw goes to first and then take off and get the extra base. And did a nice job there to get into third base, but it got the out here. Nice play by the third baseman, Cutler.
And very characteristic of the USF brand of softball, right? They're always looking to take extra bases, aggressive at the plate and on the base paths. We know that from Aston Donovan. We've seen the way that she's run bases all season long, really all career long. So it doesn't surprise me that they've now found another bull on third.
Macy Cook takes ball 1, the junior. Stepping in here with a 264 average. Stockley's got to be careful, too, with her pitch selection with the runner in third and Donovan here. There's the 1-0. And Cook pops one up in the right. That will go foul and away from the UConn defenders. Sapleton was taking a chase out of that. And the count is a ball and a strike. And what I mean by that is any ball in the dirt, a lot of pressure there. You don't want a ball that gets to the backstop will score Donovan easily here.
And that's one of the advantages. You have obviously a USF home field advantage. And And we've seen some really great plays and really great brick walls in the form of the catchers and the backstops that we've seen so far today.
And Cook delivers a base hit into left field. That will score Donovan, and the USF Bulls take a 1-0 lead on an RBI single by Macy Cook with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 6th. And there's where Donovan, taking the extra base, going to third base on the ground out, pays off. I don't know if she scores necessarily on this hit here.
Well, and that's just a beautiful piece of hitting there from Macy Cook. We see her, she shows bunt. Again, that's a timing mechanism. She's often not bunting there, making sure that she has the right timing, and that's actually an outside pitch. She just caught it before it moved, so a little bit farther over on the white than I think Stockley wanted it to be when it was going to be caught, and drives it through the 5-6 hole. What can you do? Just a great piece of situational hitting, hits behind her runner, does what she needs to do to score.
Georgina Korick. She's got to feel pretty good that she's got a run to work with at least now. A 1-0 lead here in the bottom of the 6th with 2 outs. And really a good game here. Well played from both sides, 1 versus 8. Wouldn't know it based on the way both teams have played here. Stockley on the 0-1. And if you're Stockley now, she's got to regroup here, right? There's a little bit of a disappointment, a letdown after giving up that run, but a lot of softball to go. You got to get this third out and give your offense a chance in the top half of the inning.
Well, and we talked about how important it is, regardless of what has happened previously in the season, that you come into postseason. It's almost like a clean slate, a breath of fresh air here for UConn. And again, it's not over till it's over. You have to play. There's a reason they tell us to play 1 pitch at a time. It's because if you still have 1 out on the board, you're still in it.
And Korick pops it up foul territory, giving it a look, but it's in the stands. The count is 1-2. So Macy Cook, the catcher, with a 2-out RBI single, scoring Ashton Donovan, who started this with an infield hit. Advanced to second on a sac bunt. Advanced to third on a ground out. And the 1-2, and Korick fouls it off and stays alive. So the Bulls with a 1-0 lead will now all of a sudden, the winner of this game to take on Memphis 4:30 tomorrow in the second semifinal. Tulsa and Houston is the first semi at 2 o'clock. 1-2. That pitch is fouled off to stay alive. So Korick battling here against Stockley, trying to add some more insurance for herself here. But she comes out in the 7th inning. But Macy Cook with the big hit of the game to this point. 1-2. Pitch low.
Beautiful.
Good pitch there. Good take by Korick.
Oh, and these are the games you live for, right? This moment where it's your 1 run down, 2 outs on the board, game's on the line. I mean, what more could you want?
Korick fouls it off down the left side.
Now we're seeing some of that power from Korick, and why she's getting a chance to hit
there
for herself.
There you go. Now you see it. But this is why, right? If you're a player, you commit to schools, why you come out in the fall and have fall ball and get to work, and then into the spring and January and the winter, and to get yourself ready for moments like this, right? This is what it's all about. Play at your very best at the very most important time here, postseason time, the American Softball Championships. It's been a dandy day and a dandy game here. As Stockley, who's been magnificent for the Huskies, delivers the 2-2, and Korick hits a fly ball to left, but Bates is under it and makes the catch to end the inning. But Macy Cook, with a 2-out RBI single, scoring Ashton Donovan, gives the regular season champions a 1-0 lead through 6. You're watching the American Softball Championships here on ADN.
Welcome into the ADN studio. Hope your week is off to a great start. Thanks for tuning in to an all-new episode of The Rise.
And Mike Hughes, the kicker to beat. Do you believe it? Kareem Bruton Jr. for the win. Yes! The American Conference Championship. Bernie scores.
The next biggest game is our biggest game, and we've been doing that all year.
A game like this, you got to want to win the game. We get to the point to where, okay, we're all scratching the itch, waiting for college football to start.
How impressive is it that both of these programs have been here the last 4 years?
This ball is launched out and beyond left field. Bohm gets around on this one, up the line, that's fair.
I couldn't be prouder. I mean, this conference has just performed beyond anyone's expectations.
Top of the 7th inning here in Tampa, Florida. The USF Bulls the 1 seed with a 1-0 lead over the UConn Huskies, and Ken Erickson's going to the bullpen. Hannah Parker, the lefty, coming in to close this out, the senior for Georgina Corrick. So Corrick going 6 innings, giving up 1 hit. But Coach Erickson, with a baseball background, is going to Parker here to try to close this out.
Going to a closer.
Well, and part of it is you've got Cutler to lead it off here. It'll be Cutler, McDaniel, and Sapleton, the heart of the order for UConn, to hit here in the top of the 7th. And Cutler is a lefty hitter. So this is the lefty-lefty matchup that Ken Erickson likes to use Parker for in these situations. First pitch low for a ball. So, and let's put this out there. Don't be, if Parker gets in trouble, Corrick can still come into the game. You can still re-enter. So a lot of options for Coach Erickson, but he's calling Parker's name.
Actually, I don't know if she can re-enter because she's already been pinch hit for.
Oh, that's right. That's a great call, you. That's a strike. That's right, because she was pinch hit as a pitcher, so that she would not. So this is Parker's game.
Yeah, so
although he has other options in the bullpen.
He has Eggins as well.
Cheyenne Eggins could pitch, so. Cutler with a 1-1 count against Parker. Outside ball 2. So that's why I'm glad you're here with me. You can just correct me, and
here
good.
We are. We're working together. That's why this is a two-man show.
Well, that's I mean, who would have thought that would be a situation? You're right, because if he doesn't pinch hit earlier in the game for Corrick, she would be able to come back in. Cutler hits a ground at his second. Devitt will throw to first in time to get Cutler to get the first out here in the 7th inning.
And if I'm UConn in that situation, Cutler's the person that I want out, right? She leads the team in hits. She's 39 hits. She gets hit by pitches. She's had 7 on the year. She's usually better with inside pitches, so it surprises me that she took a hack at an outside pitch in this situation. But again, it's going to come down to UConn being able to make adjustments here in the final hour.
Kiwi McDaniel, who has the only Husky hit of this ball game and has walked, is at the plate and takes 2-0 the count. She's 1 for 1 for a walk. UConn, no runs, 1 hit, 1 error. USF, 1 run, 5 hits, and no errors. A well-played game from both sides as Hannah Parker trying to close this out for Georgina Corrick and send the Bulls to the semifinals. And that's right there, that vintage pitch from Parker.
I mean, that ball is coming in at 52 miles an hour.
Yep.
She is spinning it as hard as she can. You see she has dirt in her hand every single time. She's making sure that she's able to manage the sweat in her hand so that she can get the right amount of grip on the ball. Loving it.
But she's down in the count, 3-1 to McDaniel here at the top of the 7th. Parker delivers. And that's ball 4 in a 1-out walk to McDaniel, who gets on base for the 3rd time in this game. What a game for Kiwi McDaniel. And she gets on base. And now the Huskies will come to the plate. Sapleton will hit. They're going to pinch run here for McDaniel. Here's that last pitch.
Look at this movement on that ball. Oh, my God. There's no way that's not a strike. That is way too close to take. I am not sure what happened there. That call might have gotten missed. But that ball
sometimes
so
you see where a changeup, an off-speed pitch like that can trick an umpire as well. Not
that's
suggesting,
true.
So that's part of it.
That's absolutely true. And I think, too, there is something to be said for the fact that the ball has to be a strike.
Here's the reaction. Look at that. You see Parker's like, where did that miss? Like, talking there to Cook.
Again, Eric, that's a great point. I mean, and I might not have been present to that had you not said it. sometimes it can be such a good pitch and so much movement and so off speed that it fools the umpire too. And, you know, as hitters, we talk so much about swing where the ball is going, not where it's pitched. And a beautiful example there.
Stapleton is at the plate, took ball 1. 1-0 the count. The runner at first here and 1 out. Stapleton with 4 home runs on the year. Hits it up the middle, and that's going to be through for a base hit. A 1-out single for Stapleton and the Huskies. This young group from Storrs, Connecticut, not going down quietly, have a threat going here in the top of the 7th. And that's going to bring out Ken Erickson now. And now the question I have is, will he keep Parker? And you're going to have a righty hitter. Chloe Kearns is the scheduled hitter. Well, and actually looks like who's coming in here? Is it Corrick? They're going to take out Parker. And so Corrick will actually come in to re-enter. So she can re-enter the game. So I was right. My initial thought was correct. So that's interesting. She will come in and re-enter. So my initial thought, and I brought that as an option, but you brought up the fact that Corrick was pinch hit for as a hitter, but that was as a hitter.
So I guess where my confusion lies is Corrick is in the lineup, right? And so as a pitcher,
well, here's the thing.
Hit for, re-entered, taken back out. And so what I'm thinking is if this is the last time she's re-entered, if she's taken out again, either on the offensive or defensive side, she is not allowed to re-enter. So it might be on if she's taken out defensively twice.
Well, and here's the other thing. When she was pinch hit for, it was a 1-1 count. So isn't that technically kind of her bat? So, you know.
I'm not
she's
sure.
in the game. But I'm not surprised by this, and that's why I brought it up earlier. I thought that Corrick was an option to bring her in if Parker were to get in trouble, and that's exactly what has happened here in the top of the 7th. We'll see if maybe you can we'll get clarification on that. But nonetheless, Corrick is back and re-entering the game. Chloe Kearns will hit here, the right-handed hitter. 2 on, 1 out here in the 7th inning. And she swings at the first pitch and pops it up in foul territory. And Evans makes the catch for the 2nd out of the ball game. And Kearns retired on 1 pitch. And Devin Casassa is the scheduled hitter now. Will be the last chance for the Huskies here. Interesting, Kearns would swing there on the first pitch. And just popped it up in foul territory. But now we're going to go to the bench here. They're going to go with a pinch hitter. In this situation is Coach McIntyre. Emma Stanley is going to pinch hit here. So Emma Stanley, the senior, will step in here to the big spot here with 2 on and 2 out as Sydney Gerdbach, who went to confirm and see what was the situation in that call. Do you have an answer on the clarification there on Corrick re-entering?
Okay, so what I have, what I believe happened was Corrick never actually came out of the game that second time.
Because it was her at bat.
No,
a 1-1 count?
Not necessarily. She didn't come out of the game when Parker was entered. Parker was put in for Macy Cook in the DP spot.
Ah.
And so they were able to put Corrick in that moment into the DP role and swap Parker in as a pitcher. So that's a lot of lineup zhuzhing.
And that's a base hit into center field. McIntyre's going to send the runner. The throw home by Donovan. The ball is off. The touch the bag. We're tied at 1-1. Unbelievable sequence as the Huskies have tied this game on a pinch hit RBI single by Emma Stanley. And the Huskies have runners at 2nd and 3rd with 2 outs. Do you believe it?
This game is wild. Beautiful piece of hitting. Chooses a great pitch. Aston Donovan comes up looking to shoot home. Oh, and there's just a little bit of a miscue there.
The ball kind of came out as like a cone, like an ice cream cone there. She couldn't hold it. If she holds onto it, she's out, but she couldn't hold it. The umpire was right on top of that. And the runner pinch scored at home plate. And a stunning development here. What a job by Coach McIntyre calling the senior, Emma Stanley, to pinch hit with your season on the line, and she delivers with an RBI hit to tie it up at 1. Here's the play again.
So, oh man, wow. Okay, so what we're seeing there is she has a hold of that ball. It's thrown so well by Donovan, probably a little bit of velocity, a little bit of spin there by Donovan, and the ball is out of her glove, and there's just not much that she can do there.
We got runners at second. We got runners at second and third. Samantha Barnett is the pinch hitter for UConn here, the lefty hitter. And Barnett takes ball 1 for the freshman. And Corrick, the freshman, has got to regroup here in a stunning development here in Tampa. What a finish here. 1-1 game in the 7th between the 1 seed and the 8 seed. And Barnett takes a strike. The scoreboard showing 2-1 the count, and it's 1-1. It was 1-1 the count. Our crew following that on ADN with a great job there, doing a great job. Long day for everybody there in that truck. Been here, I don't even want to ask since what time they've been here this morning, so let's just say it was very early. 1-1, and a swing and a miss by Barnett. And Corrick now trying to get out of this inning with runners at second and third. That run will be charged to Hannah Parker. As Barnett, the pinch hitter here, fouls it off. She's hitting for Nakama, the number 8 hitter. But how about Samantha Barnett with that pinch hit, 2-out RBI single to center to tie this game up at 1-1. And you've got Barnett now here at the plate. In a dramatic game, what a way to conclude this first day of the American Softball Championship. As the 1-2, a swing and a miss, and the strikeout by Corrick to end it. But the Huskies, this young Husky team fights back, gets a run on a couple of hits at strand 2, and we're through 6.5 here in Tampa. It's 1-1 between the Huskies and the Bulls as you're watching the American Softball Championships on ADN.
There are other people just like you, driven, determined, those who use passion to spark creation. Others who are ready to unite and discover together. It all starts with you and continues with us, the University of South Florida.
Power comes in all forms.
Power is a big tackle,
a big save,
a clutch hit,
and a game-winning shot.
Power is also standing up for what is right.
Power is respecting an opponent, officials,
student athletes, coaches, and team representatives.
Power is not tolerating racial or ethnic comments,
profanities, or other improper actions
while at the game.
The American.
Power.
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 Power for life.
Welcome back, bottom of the 7th. You see the pitch, Hollis Wivel, that was the runner that scored the tying run, pinch ran in that inning, and was able to score on a bang-bang play at home plate to tie this game up at 1-1 here in the bottom of the 7th. An amazing comeback for the Huskies. Now Brooke Hartman, the sophomore, will lead it off against Jill Stockley.
I don't want to tell all of you how this game ends, but it wouldn't surprise me if Hartman hits one out right here.
And the first pitch is a strike, and it's 0-1 the count. 0-1 the count to Hartman. Hartman will be followed by Cassidy Boyle and Haynes, 7, 8, 9 to hit for the Bulls against Jill Stockley. And Stockley on the 0-1, low for a ball. 1-1 the count here in the bottom of the 7th. Who would have thought? Who would have thought, by the way? Well, the 4 games, the most dramatic game would have been this game, the 1 versus 8. Just tells you about the depth of this league. Is the 1-1, a swing and a miss. Is Hartman way ahead of that off-speed pitch by Stockley, which has been fantastic all night.
Beautiful. And, I mean, I don't want to spoil this for anybody at home, but it wouldn't surprise me here if Hartman was able to hit one out. Not saying that's how I want it to go, but she is known for coming in the clutch in these game-winning moments with her bat.
Well, she knocks down a hit here So she'll get on base to start the Bulls rally as that ball was off Cutler's glove. And the Bulls get the potential winning run on base in Hartman here to start the bottom of the 7th.
And just a beautiful piece. She's a little bit ahead of that ball, still able to put her barrel on it. Looks like she might take 2. Again, aggressive on the base paths is a key indicator that you're watching USF softball. But one of the things that we're going to have to see from USF is they're going to have to execute here. This is where that timely hitting and hitting behind your runner comes into play.
There's a bunt by Boyle, the throw to first in time. Cutler makes the throw to first, but that does advance Hartman, the game-winning run potentially here at second base with 1 out. And let's see here what Coach Erickson's is thinking here. Looks like he's going to go to Amber Atkinson to pinch hit here. Why not? Amber Atkinson, one of his better hitters on the bench here, who's an all-conference player talent, will come in here to hit with the game-winning potential run at second base. And he's going to pinch run for Hartman here as well, as Kendall Williams looks like he'll be the pinch runner for the Bulls.
Well, and even though she's getting the pinch hit opportunity right now, she's not in the starting lineup, but Amber Atkinson, comes into this game hitting .359, right? So she's an all-conference first team. Not getting the start, still all-conference first team. She's had 21 RBIs so far on the season, so this is exactly who you want up. And talk about, again, depth of bench, the fact that she's an all-conference first team player, and she's not starting in
not in this game. Not in this game.
Yeah.
Matchups probably play a factor into that. And it's a moment like this where Coach Erickson decides, I'm going to use her right now with the game on the line and the game-winning run at second. Now, Coach McIntyre may have a counter move here. She's going to talk to her team. And I think they're going to talk about the strategy here. You got to talk about, I'm sure, the scouting report on Atkinson. You have the open base at first base. So if you fall behind, for example, do you decide to pitch around Atkinson, who's an over 350-plus hitter? So a lot of things in motion. It's going to be fascinating to see here how this develops here in this sequence.
This is what you play for, right? This is exactly the situation that I want to be an analyst for. I either want to play in or I want to be a coach. Like, I want to be involved in this sort of matchup any day of the week. This is what is most exciting and what is so great about postseason and championship softball.
And a swing and a miss for Atkinson as Stockley gets ahead 0-1 the count. Runner at second base, and Kendall Williams, with Atkinson, the redshirt senior, at the plate. 1 out here in the bottom of the 7th in a 1-1 ball game. The pitch to Atkinson. Atkinson bloops one into short. The catch is made. The throw to second. It's a double play, and we will continue to play on here in the American Softball Championships. We got free softball as we go to extra innings. Marcelino with a catch in the throw, the double off the runner. We're through 7, all tied at 1 here at the American Softball Championships on ADN.
When learning creates leaders, ideas are ignited, focus gets sharper, and service connects generations. We commit our expertise to heal, to discover, and to drive our region forward to a brighter tomorrow. East Carolina University. Tomorrow starts here.
Leading off the top of the 8th inning for the Huskies, number 19 center fielder.
Welcome back here as we head to the top of the 8th. Extra innings between the Huskies and the Bulls. The 1 seed and the 8 seed. Amazing game as Georgina Corrick will face Reese Guevara, the leadoff hitter. The number 9 hitter will face, and then Marcelino and Bates. 9-1-2 against Corrick. The first pitch is outside for a ball, 1-0 the count. 1 run, 3 hits, and 1 error. For the Huskies, 1 run, 8 hits, and 1 error. For the Bulls, the 1-0. And a bullet to center, but right to Donovan, who makes the catch. And Guevara has hit a couple of hard balls today, but has not been rewarded. He's made a couple of outs, and there's 1 gone. Here in the 8th inning, we're actually trying to double check this, but this might be the first extra inning game in American Conference Softball Championship history. There's a center field. We'll try to verify that. As Marcelino will come to the plate, swings to the first pitch, and that's a foul ball. Foul ball is the count. And the count is 0-1, the count. Here in the top of the 8th inning, the 1 seed, the regular season champion Bulls at hosting this tournament in a battle against this young Huskies team who have battled from pitch 1. Marcelino nearly got hit. Pitch was inside, and it's a ball. 1-1 the count. So 1-1 the count with 1 out here in the 8th inning. The right-handed hitting Marcelino leads the conference in doubles. Hits a bullet down the first base line, and what's the call? It's foul. Foul ball. Very close play there, as Marcelino was maybe inches away from another double. But instead, it's a foul ball, and the count is 1-2.
And that's a great choice there. Again, she's just a little bit behind. This is going to be, what, her 4th at-bat so far this game? And she's seen Korek for all 4 of her at-bats. Don't think she had an opportunity to face Hannah Parker. So this is really where she needs to dig in and make sure that she's capitalizing on what she knows that she's going to get from Korek. I mean, it's now no longer a surprise. Make sure that you're getting your timing down, poke it through the hole.
A ball and 2 strikes, the count to Marcelino. Chops one up the middle to Devitt. It's there, though, at second base. Will throw to first, and they called her out. Oh, and the Husky staff dugout up in the air. They thought Marcelino had beaten it out. Instead, it's the 2nd out of the inning.
I don't know about that, actually.
Well, Coach McIntyre thought she beat it out. So let's see.
Take a look at this play one more time. Step catch.
Safe.
Ooh, safe. And tie goes to the runner anyway, number 1. But just a little bit of a mistake on the umpire's part. Again, as players and as coaches, we have to focus on what we can control. And dwelling on that right now, especially Marcelino, you can't do it. You have to make sure that you get back up on the fence and cheer your team. If you can't get it done, let somebody else do it.
Kelly Bates will come to the plate with no one on and 2 outs, and is ahead of the count, 2-0. Here in the top of the 8th inning. And the pitch is fouled off. You hate to see that, but you know, it's part of the game and you just move on. And it's the top of the 8th inning, a 2-1 count to Kelly Bates, the junior outfielder. The 2-1. It's a strike, and the count is 2-2. So Kelly Bates battling here against Georgina Korek. And the 2-2. Tap foul down to third base. Foul again. Extra innings here in the American Softball Championships here, Sydney.
Who would have thought it would have come in the 4th game of the day?
Amazing. 2-2 the count to Kelly Bates. Inside, and the count is full. 3-2 to Bates.
Really good pitch, really good take.
3 balls, 2 strikes the count to Kelly Bates. The pitch. A little tapper. And what are they going to call here? Looks like they're going to call foul ball. Yep, foul ball. Foul ball is the call, so Bates will stay alive there. Some of the Bulls players were trying to head to the dugout. Maybe they thought they were going to call the batter being out of the box, which has been called today, but not in that sequence. And so the count remains 3-2.
And Bates has been the defensive hero of the day, having a number of catches out there in left field. I'd really love to see her produce here offensively.
Bates fouled that last pitch. Here's the replay here. And really couldn't tell there.
You couldn't tell that she gets hit by the ball at all, or at least her bat had maybe like a double tap.
The 3-2. That's sliced into left, but Haynes is there and makes the catch. And it's a 1-2-3 inning for Corrick here in the 8th. We head to the bottom of the 8th, still tied at 1 here at the American Softball Championships on ADN.
Welcome into the ADN studio. Hope your week is off to a great start. Thanks for tuning in to an all-new episode of The Rise.
And Mike Hughes, the kicker to beat. Do you believe it? Kareem Bruton Jr. for the win. Yes! The American Conference Championship. Bernie scores.
The next biggest game is our biggest game, and we've been doing that all year.
A game like this, you got to want to win the game. We get to the point to where, okay, we're all scratching the itch, waiting for college football to start.
How impressive is it that both of these programs have been here the last 4 years?
This ball is launched out and beyond left field. Bohm gets around on this one, up the line, that's fair.
I couldn't be prouder. I mean, this conference has just performed beyond anyone's expectations.
Bottom of the 8th, as you see Coach McIntyre with a high five to their pitcher, Jill Stockley, and why not? This youngster has been fantastic for UConn. And she will start the bottom of the 8th against the top of the order for the Bulls, Lauren Evans, to lead it off here in the bottom of the 8th. Evans, Donovan, Devitt, 1, 2, 3. It's getting nighttime here in Tampa.
All right, USF, you've got the ideal top of your lineup coming up. Fourth at bats so far today. Getting to see Stockley for the 4th time. No surprise what she's throwing.
1-1 count, and it's a senior. Lauren Evans, you got a senior, and then the senior Donovan, who've been through this before against the young Stockley. Count 1-1 to the right-handed hitting Evans. That's in the dirt. Ball 2, 2-1 the count to Lauren Evans, the 295 hitter coming into this game tonight. Trying to get on here to start it off here in the bottom of the 8th in a 1-1 game. The winner to take on Memphis tomorrow at 4:30 Eastern. That'll be the second semifinal of the day. 2-1 pitch. Evans swings and hits a fly ball to center, but playable as the catch is made by Guevara for the first out of the inning. So Evans retired, and now Aston Donovan will step into the plate. Nice routine catch there in the outfield with 1 out. We have had extra inning games before in the American Softball Championship, so we did verify that in between innings, but not sure if they've been as exciting as this one tonight. A 1 versus 8. And Donovan up the middle and knocks off Stockley. The throw to first is in time. What a play to get the out as Marcelino makes a great play, backing up Stockley on there for the 2nd out of the inning.
That is a great play by Marcelino. Let's take a look at that one more time. A hard hit ball back to Stockton. She picks it up, gets rid of it as fast as she can. Really close play again. Not that was a closer play than the almost identical play from Marcelino that we saw.
Well, and a great job. She charged into that ball. She had Stockley backed up. They checked on Stockley to make sure she was all right after getting hit on that pitch there on that hit by Donovan. But that's a heck of a play by Marcelino to get Donovan. You can see why they're excited about her as a freshman at shortstop. Look at this. Close play.
A lot closer than the other play we saw.
So there are 2 outs here with no one on, and Lindsey Devitt to the plate. The first pitch to Devitt, low for a ball. 1-0 the count.
All right, haven't really got an opportunity to brag on Lindsey Devitt, right? 362 American batting average. She leads USF in RBIs and runs. Another all-conference first-team selection for USF. And so she's been a staple as a junior, one of those upperclassmen. She drives that ball all the way to the fence.
That's in the gapper. That'll be extra bases. Devitt's thinking 2, and that's what she'll get. A 2-out double, stand-up double for Lindsey Devitt. Their 7th double of the year, and the game-winning run now for the Bulls is standing at second base with Samantha Worrell coming to the plate.
And she just capitalizes on a Stockley mistake. I mean, there's no other way to characterize that ball.
Pitch hung a little bit.
Yep, that pitch hung, and with a hitter like Devitt, you know she's going to be able to capitalize on opposing pitchers' mistakes, and that's what you get there.
So Hannah Parker, is the actual hitter. Remember, Hannah Parker came in relief. You mentioned Worrell, the DP spot. Remember how they allowed Corey to get back in. So Parker will hit here with a runner at second. Left-handed hitting Hannah Parker. And as she swings and misses, and the count is 0-1. Parker came in to try to close out the game in the top of the 7th. Gave up a couple of runners, got on base. Who eventually scored a run to tie the game up. And now Parker with a game-winning run at second base and 2 outs. Stockley ahead 0-1. Delivers outside for a ball. 1-1 the count. You got Devitt at second base with that 2-out double. The Bulls have out-hit the Huskies 7-3 in this game. But Stockley hanging in there. The junior with a 1-1 count to Parker. Delivers. Moves away. Ball 2. 2-1 to count. So Parker's hitting in the 4th spot. With Macy Cook, who drove in the Bulls run in the 6th inning, on deck. And Parker never swings, but that's when you make all those moves, you sometimes have that situation. 2-1. And that pitch is fouled off, and the count is 2-2. As Stockley battling here against Hannah Parker. Their first at-bat of the year. What a time to have it. Here in the quarterfinals of the American Softball Championships here in the bottom of the 8th. The 2-2. Strike 3 looking, frozen. And Jill Stockley sends us to the top of the 9th. We're through 8 here in Tampa. Still tied at 1 apiece here on ADN.
Wichita State University is Shocker Nation. We exceed expectations, push boundaries, seize opportunities, and move boldly ahead. We are student-centered and innovation-driven. It's who we are. Our vision is simple but powerful. Create, innovate, collaborate, and celebrate. With one unifying purpose: to shock the world.
7,000 student athletes rising to become champions in 21 different sports at 13 esteemed institutions across 11 states. 360,000 students and 2.6 million alumni rise up in celebration of a Power 6 conference known as the American.
It's turned nighttime here in Tampa, Florida, as we're head to the top of the 9th. It's tied 1-1 game between the Huskies and the Bulls. The 1 versus 8, and Hannah Parker stays in there, is back in relief now and pitching for Georgina Korek. As Ken Erickson going back to the lefty-lefty matchup, bringing in Parker to face Cutler. Carly Cutler, the left-handed hitter, to lead it off here for the Huskies in the top of the 9th with Kiwi McDaniel and Olivia Sapleton. 3-4-5 to hit. So Parker in now for the 2nd time. And that's a strike, and the count is 0-1. To Carly Cutler. He's had a quiet night so far. So Parker, who started the 9th inning and was pulled, started the 7th inning and was pulled. It starts here the 9th. There is a strike and quickly ahead 0-2. 1 run, 3 hits, 1 error for the Huskies. 1 run, 7 hits, and 1 error for the Bulls. Here in the top of the 9th. The 0-2. It's in the dirt, ball 1. 1-2 to count.
The coach in me is looking at this Cutler at bat so far and saying to myself, this is not the time to watch pitches. This is the time to swing out of your shoes and go for it, because you only have a very limited number of outs and number of innings in order to make this happen.
Well, they just called Cutler out here in the 9th inning.
And that's the kicker, is that you don't want the bat taken out of your hand by things you can't control. And what you can control is taking 3 huge hacks, choosing good pitches, having good barrel control, but taking those hacks that are intentional, that show that you're ready to hit the ball hard and hit it solid.
So 1 out, Kiwi McDaniel will come to the plate. They must have said that the ball out, maybe out of the box or either contact with the bat twice. Nonetheless, Cutler out, first out, and now McDaniel. And it's McDaniel who has singled and has walked twice, has gotten on base 3 times tonight for the Huskies. It helped start that Husky rally in the 7th inning. The 1-0. And McDaniel takes the strike, and the count is even at 1-1.
That is nasty. That is beautiful.
The 1-1. Hit down the line, foul down to first base. And the count is 1-2. So ball and 2 strikes the count.
And that's a beautiful off speed. And it has the spin of a curveball, right? So regardless of what it is, whether she's throwing it as her changeup or as an off-speed curve, that ball is spinning tight enough to where there's some major movement. And you can see that she's palming that ball when she throws it in order to take a little bit of that spin away. And then you have that little bit, it's tight enough to seem like it's coming at you faster, but loose enough to almost wobble down towards you as the offensive player.
The 2-2 to swing and a miss, and McDaniel goes on strikes as Parker gets the strikeout. So there are 2 outs here in the 9th inning as Parker gets the strikeout. And now Stapleton takes ball 1. Hannah Parker, the senior in relief. What a bang game here, the Huskies and the Bulls. Here in the 9th inning. That's hit foul down to first base. Stapleton now, the freshman, staying alive with 2 outs here in the 9th inning. Parker. The 1-1 count. And a swing and a miss, and Parker now ahead 1-2.
Sappington really looking to pull the ball here.
1-2
pitch. A little more patient.
And that is outside for a ball. 2-2 the count. Two and 2 the count to Stapleton. And she bloops one over the head of Boyle, the shortstop, for a single. And a 2-out single for Stapleton. Here in the top of the 9th for the Huskies, their 4th hit of the ball game. Here in the 9th.
And not necessarily needing to do too much there. Able to put that ball where there's not a defensive player, and that's really all you need right now. You have 2 outs on the board, but again, if you have 1 out in the game, it's a free ball game.
And now Coach Erickson will go back to Corrick to face the righty hitter, Chloe Kearns. So that's exactly what he wanted to do, go with Parker, the lefty, with some of the matchups. And now brings in Corrick to face Kearns with a runner at first and 2 outs here in the 9th inning.
Your attention please now, pitching for the Bulls, number 22, Georgina Korick.
So Georgina Korick, the co-pitcher of the year, will come back in here with a runner at first and 2 outs to face Chloe Kearns, who popped up when she faced Korick back in the 7th inning. And will try to do the same here to send it to the bottom of the 9th, but she won't be facing Kearns, it looks like. Or will it? Yes, she will. Yep, Chloe Kearns, there she is. Talking to her head coach, Jen McIntyre, about the situation and probably some scouting. Reminder, American Digital Network coverage of the American Softball Championships continues tomorrow, 2 o'clock Eastern, the first semifinal, the Houston Cougars, the 2 seed against the 6-seeded Tulsa Golden Hurricane, the 2-time defending conference tournament champions. That'll be at 2 o'clock. And then the Memphis Tigers at the 5 seed will take on the winner of this game at 4:30 tomorrow. So now Kearns to face Korick. And the first pitch is a strike, and it's 0-1 to count. So Stapleton at first base with Kearns at the plate. And Korick on the 0-1. Low for a ball, 1-1 to count. So a ball and a strike to count. And that's a ball. And Korick, of course, flipping roles with Parker. We saw Parker hit, and the reason why Parker's hitting is she's in the DP spot. So you're basically flipping the pitcher in the DP spot, which you can do as many times in college softball.
Which you can do as many times as you want. Ken Erickson, you have us all fooled.
There's a grounded to second. Devitt's off balance. Will throw to first, and they get Kearns to end the inning. Not an easy play by Devitt, but she gets it done, and Korick gets it done. We're through 8.5 here in Tampa. Still tied at 1 here on ADN.
There are other people just like you. Driven, determined. Those who use passion to spark creation. Others who are ready to unite and discover together. It all starts with you and continues with us, the University of South Florida.
Power comes in all forms.
Power is a big tackle,
A big save.
A clutch hit.
And a game-winning shot.
Power is also standing up for what is right.
Power is respecting an opponent, officials,
Student athletes, coaches, and team representatives.
Power is not tolerating racial or ethnic comments,
Profanities or other improper actions.
While at the game.
Be American.
Power.
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 Power for life.
Beautiful night here in Tampa, Florida. We're at the USF campus at the USF Softball Stadium. You see Coach McIntyre in her 4th season with UConn. A young Huskies team battling with Jill Stockley back to work to start the bottom of the 9th. In a 1-1 ball game, Macy Cook will lead it off for the Bulls, followed by Georgina Korick and Brooke Hartman, 5, 6, 7 against Stockley. And it's Cook who had that go-ahead RBI hit for the Bulls back in the bottom of the 6th with 2 outs. It gave USF at the time a 1-0 lead, only to see UConn tie it up on a pinch hit RBI single by Emma Stanley in the top of the 7th. That's why we're still playing. As Cook takes outside for a ball, 2-0 the count here in the bottom of the 9th. 1 run, 4 hits, and 1 error for UConn. 1 run, 7 hits, and 1 error for the Bulls.
And you have to tip your hat to Jill Stockley here, right? I mean, UConn did not have very much luck against USF the first go-round, but they have come through and grown so much over the course of this season, and they are digging deep and making sure that they're giving USF a run for their money. Again, we talked about how incredible it is that this is the game between the 1 seed and the 8 seed.
Stockley will underhand it to first to get Cook for the first out here in the bottom of the 9th. Well, I said it to some of the media people doing interviews leading up to this tournament. The seeds don't matter. These teams are talented. They're equal. The gap is not that big. This conference is the 4th strongest conference in college softball, and you're seeing it here. This was a UConn team that went into College Station and beat Texas A&M this year. It's a young team on the rise. There's a swing and a miss by Corrick. And the count is 0-1 as Georgina Corrick hitting here. It will be followed by Hartman. The 0-1. In the dirt, ball 1. 1-1 the count to Corrick. So, Corrick hitting. Here's the pitcher with Parker at the DP spot. A ball and a strike to count to Georgina Corrick. And a swing and a miss by Corrick. And Stockley ahead 1-2 on Corrick.
So here's my question.
Yeah.
Is it worth the gamesmanship and the matchups to have 2 pitchers in the lineup that don't usually hit, or rather give an opportunity to somebody else in your lineup? I don't know. Let's say Amber Atkinson, who's an all-conference first-team hitter, giving her more than 1 at-bat. I mean, that's, well, I'm looking at it.
Matchups are playing, and right now you've got Corrick and Parker you can use here late in this game. We don't know how long this will go.
Oh, yeah.
So you've got them as options here. And as that pitch is in the dirt for a ball. 2 and full count, 3-2 the count.
Well, that's what I find interesting is that there's clearly an opportunity for the pitchers on USF to step up here and contribute offensively. And
it's the 3-2. Corrick hits a fly ball to left center, and Bates is there and makes the catch for the second out of the inning as Corrick flies out for the second out of the inning. Now Brooke Hartman, who leads the team with 10 homers, flies out as you see Bates making the play. Atkinson didn't have good numbers against UConn when they played in the regular season. I think that plays a role in it. Matchups, there are a lot of things people know about their roster that, quite frankly, nobody else outside of the team knows. So, but listen, I don't think it matters. The way Stockley's throwing, I don't think it matters. This is not about who's hitting. It's about Jill Stockley and the job she's done. It's about Georgina Corrick. This is pitching at the highest level and execution at the highest level. As Brooke Hartman, who has a couple of hits in this game, is at the plate. The count is 0-1. With 2 outs here in the 9th inning. And that's a strike, and now Stockley ahead, 0-2 on Brooke Hartman. The 0-2. And Hartman lays off that pitch, and the count is a ball and 2 strikes.
That's a good spot there from Stockley.
Threw one outside there. Got to be careful. Hartman, the leader in home runs with 10. Can end it with 1 swing. And Stockley delivers outside, ball 2. 2-2 the count to Brooke Hartman here in the bottom of the 9th in a 1-1 ball game. Stockley, the junior, delivers. Strike 3 looking, frozen as Hartman goes down on strikes, and Stockley will send us again to the 10th inning. We're still tied at 1. Nothing's been decided through 9 here at the American Softball Championships on ADN.
Welcome in to the ADN studio. Hope your week is off to a great start. Thanks for tuning in to an all-new episode of The Rise.
And Mike Hughes, the kicker to beat. Do you believe it? Kareem Bruton Jr. for the win. Yes! The American Conference Championship. Bernie scores.
The next biggest game is our biggest game, and we've been doing that all year.
A game like this, You got to want to win the game. We get to the point to where, okay, we're all scratching the itch, waiting for college football to start.
How impressive is it that both of these programs have been here the last 4 years?
This ball is launched out and beyond left field. Bohm gets around on this one, up the line, that's fair.
I couldn't be prouder. I mean, this conference has just performed beyond anyone's expectations.
Top of the 10th here in Tampa. The final quarterfinal game of the night. It's been a dandy. The Huskies and the Bulls tied at 1-1. As Georgina Korek facing Devin Casasso to start it off here in the 10th. Houston and Memphis played a 10-inning game in the 2016 quarterfinal game held in Tulsa, a game that Houston won in that one. That is the longest game in American softball championship history. We have now tied that here at the top of the 10th. Thanks to the great crew, American Conference letting us know that. It's Korek. The 1-1 is up high, 2-1 the count. I happened to be there for that game. I was working with Bruce Howard, the voice of Tulsa softball there. That was an exciting game, but I got to tell you, this game has probably been more exciting. It's been edge of your seat type of ball game. 2-2. You've had a little bit of everything. Clutch hitting, great defensive play, great pitching. It's had it all, and we hope you're enjoying it here on the American Digital Network. The 2-2 is outside for a ball, and it's full. 3-2 the count here in the top of the 10th. Three balls, 2 strikes the count as Korek delivers. And a pitch foul back off for the sophomore catcher, Casasso, here in the top of the 10th. You see Coach McIntyre. Jen McIntyre in her 4th season. The 3-2. Casasso hits a fly ball to right center, but Aston Donovan is there and makes the catch for the first out of the inning. 1 out here in the 10th. As Nakama will come to the plate.
And that was a beautiful piece of hitting there by Devin Casasso. But again, I have to beg the question, same question I would have asked UCF and Memphis. What does it look like? And what adjustments do you have to make to put the ball on the ground? That's been a major difference maker in these past 2 games that we've seen. Memphis was able to execute their game plan by putting the ball on the ground, forcing UCF to make plays. You're not really forcing anybody to make a play here. Obviously, you have a speedy and competent outfield out here for the Bulls. Force them to have to make the outstanding play with a line drive or a ground ball.
Nakama, the senior, at the plate, down 1-2 to Georgina Korek. Here in the top of the 10th inning in a 1-1 game. Korek goes outside for the appeal, no swing there, ball 2. And the count is 2-2. What a job, Korek, a freshman, winning co-pitcher of the year with Savannah Hebner of Houston, the 3rd Bulls pitcher to win an American Conference Pitcher of the Year. She delivers a 2-2. It's a slow chopper to second. Devitt underhand to first in time to get Nakama. What a play by Lindsay Devitt. She's made some great plays over at second base. And there are 2 outs here in the 10th.
Devitt has been really key all game long, and she's come up clutch in a number of defensive situations. And specifically last inning when she had an opportunity, she was able to make good on her 4th at-bat.
And Coach Erickson's going to come out and make a move here now. We'll take Korek out and we'll bring Hannah Parker in to face the left-handed hitting Reese Guevara. And I mentioned Ken Erickson played baseball here at USF. Comes with a baseball philosophy. We'll go matchups, lefty by lefty. Likes to use the bullpen. And you're seeing more and more of that in the sport of college softball. And I think Coach Erickson was one of the first people to bring that into the game of college softball. And he does it here with Parker to face Guevara.
Well, and I think that there's I think that there's something to be said for the fact that you don't know for sure, but there is a possibility that if he doesn't take Korek out, this game is over. This game is over in the 7th inning. And so at what point does this, matchups piece become frivolous? And what I love about Erickson is that he is committed to this. Yeah. This is something that is very much his style, something that he believes is integral to winning.
He's won a lot of games.
Absolutely.
He's been to the Women's College World Series.
Absolutely.
So the numbers are on his side.
Absolutely. And so from the outside looking in, this can look frivolous, and you're just going to have to see how this ends up playing out for USF at the end of this ballgame.
He's won many conference championships, and he's pitched this consistent. And Parker ahead 0-1. And that's why, because Parker's got that nasty pitch that's hard to hit for a left-handed hitter. And Guevara is down in the count 0-2.
Well, and the reason it's hard to hit for a left-handed hitter is because not only is a left-handed hitter less familiar with a left-handed pitcher, but the ball is spinning a little bit differently. And for a ball that generally moves across the plate that way, you're generally not seeing it on the left side as a pitch that's off speed. And that's going to be a major factor. I mean, you're seeing a screwball on the outside corner as left-handed hitter, but not something off speed and not something that moves like that, like a backdoor.
Strikeout for Parker of Guevara. And a 1-2-3 inning here in the top of the 10th. We head to the bottom of the 10th. Still tied at 1 here in the American Softball Championships on ADN.
There are other people just like you. Driven, determined. Those who use passion to spark creation. Others who are ready to unite and discover together. It all starts with you and continues with us, the University of South Florida.
Power comes in all forms.
Power is a big tackle,
a big save,
a clutch hit,
and a game-winning shot.
Power is also standing up for what is right.
Power is respecting an opponent, officials,
student athletes, coaches, and team representatives.
Power is not tolerating racial or ethnic comments,
profanities, or other improper actions
while at the game.
Be American.
Power.
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 Power for life.
Bottom of the 10th, 1-1. And of course, you can check out theamerican.org for all the latest going on in the American Conference with all the coverage of the American Softball Championships here from Tampa. What a first day we have had here, folks. 4 quarterfinal games. We've had a 6 seed and a 5 seed advance. And here we are, the 1 seed against the 8 seed, the Bulls, the regular season champions against the 8 seed at UConn Huskies. And we're in the bottom of the 10th, tied at 1. Cassidy Boyle will lead it off for the Bulls against Jill Stockley. And Boyle takes the strike, and the count is 0-1.
I think there's something to be said for every pitcher that we've seen so far this game, how effective off-speed has been, and really all day, how effective off-speed has been with keeping offenses on their toes and making sure that they're choosing good pitches. And if you're going to choose an off-speed pitch, especially as a right-handed hitter, you need to be on time for outside. Anything hard on the outside corner, more often than not, you're going to be out on time for anything off speed.
1-1. And Boyle hits a fly ball to left, but playable. His Bates is under it and makes the catch. 1 gone here in the bottom of the 10th as Boyle is retired. And that'll bring up Jasmine Haynes, the number 9 hitter, who then will be followed by Lauren Evans here for the Bulls in the bottom of the 10th. So Haynes, we'll see if Haynes can get something going for the Bulls. The slap hitter, the youngster, freshman stepping in. And the first pitch, tapped foul, and the count is 0-1. Of course, we got action tomorrow. Again, reminder, semifinals tomorrow, 2 o'clock, Tulsa and Houston. A rematch of the American Softball Championship game last year in Greenville, won by Tulsa, 1-0. The 0-1. That's in the dirt, ball 1, 1-1 the count. The winner of this game will take on Memphis in the second semifinal tomorrow at 4:30. We can have it all here on the American Digital Network. Go to theamerican.org for all the latest. A ball and a strike. The count to Haynes. And Stockley delivers, and that's foul back. So Stockley here battling, has gone the distance to this point against this dynamic Bulls offense. Second in batting average in the American Conference. Second in home runs in the American Conference behind Wichita State. Haynes on the 1-2 is outside. Ball two as she took, and it's 2-2 the count.
Stockley still in it here. And what I love, too, is that she is not overthrowing. She has stayed true to her brand of pitching this entire game. Not trying to overthrow it. Has gone to a couple full counts. However, that's a pretty natural fatigue. I mean, we are 10 innings in.
Full count, 3-2 the count to Jasmine Haynes. And Stockley delivers. And Haynes hits it to left, but Bates was played perfectly there, makes the catch, and Haynes is retired. Good at bat by Haynes, and then she hit it to left, but Bates was playing in, and it paid off for her for the second out here in the bottom of the 10th.
Bates has been a major difference maker for this UConn team defensively. I'm really impressed with the fact that she has been able to get, the best reads I've seen on this field all weekend long, other than maybe Aston Donovan.
Lauren Evans couldn't hold her swing on that one, and the count is 0-1 as Stockley pulling the strings on her pitches. Been masterful. Just a junior will be back for this Husky team next year, but it's about the now for Stockley. There's the 0-1 to Evans. High, ball one. 1-1 the count to Lauren Evans. 2 homers, 16 RBIs on the season, .295 average coming into tonight's game. The senior stepping in here, right-handed hitter. As Stockley steps in the rubber and fires the 1-1. And Evans pulls it down to left field, foul. And it's 1-2.
So you've seen a major difference in the swing speed of USF. And it's indicative of the fact that they're not getting their timing down on Stockley, regardless of the fact that they've seen her for 10 innings now. They're still looking at these. They're still getting these off-speed pitches and swinging at them at the speed the pitch is coming in, rather than maintaining the integrity of their bat speed. So that's going to be a major factor. If they want to hit that off-speed well and be on time, they're going to have to be really disciplined up at the plate.
2-2 the count to Evans. And that is low, ball 3. 3-2 now the count to Lauren Evans. With Aston Donovan would hit if Evans were to reach and extend the inning. Evans all conference, which was announced yesterday at the plate with a full count. 3-2. Evans swings and fouls it off down the right side of the net. We'll do it again, and there's Aston Donovan, the senior, the leading hitter on the Bulls. Will get a chance to hit if Evans were to reach. If she doesn't, then Donovan would lead off the next inning. But we're still in the 10th here. 3-2 the count. And that is low. They're inside, and Evans gets on with 2 outs here in the 10th. And that'll bring up Aston Donovan now, the leading hitter on the team. Will step in. Let's look at this last pitch here. Did it hit Evans?
She takes it, just skims right off of her knee.
She gets on base here in the bottom of the 10th. So Evans at first. We'll have a meeting in the circle with Donovan at the plate. And I think this is more about just making sure everybody's on the same page, making sure you've got your right scouting report. Also, maybe take a breather. I mean, this is just high-level stuff. And you don't want to get phased based on a hit by pitch or a walk or any situation. So why not make sure everybody take a breather?
Yeah. Take the opportunity to, reset, refocus. Okay, there's a runner on base, but we have 2 outs.
Donovan at the plate with Evans at first. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 10th. And Stockley, first pitch in there for a strike. Nice off-speed pitch to Donovan. And the count is 0-1.
So this is now the time when, in a full 7 innings, there's a little bit of extra movement that Stockley has. When she pitches, there's a little bit of a different finish. She does an extra bounce before she even starts her motion. This is now the time that may take a little bit of a toll on her, because she's using all of that extra energy for those smaller movements. And now, cumulatively over these past 10 innings, that's a lot of extra movement.
There's a liner, and it's foul ball. Foul ball down on the third base as Cutler reached for it. And stays alive, 0-2 the count. That was close to being caught, and that was also close to being fair. Let's see how close.
Ooh, looked like if she had let that ball go, it would have spun off into foul territory, but a great effort there by Cutler.
0-2 the count. Did she go around? The runner takes off. They're going to appeal here. And no swing. So it's 1-2 the count, and that's significant because Evans took second base and is now scoring position. The game-winning run is at second base. There it is. Donovan holding her swing, and Evans taking off, and now is in scoring position. There's the appeal, says no. The 1-2, and that's low and outside, ball 2. 2-2 the count. That was Sydney Brunot with the no swing over there. And as a result, Evans at second base. The count is 2-2 to the senior Aston Donovan here in the bottom of the 10th in a 1-1 game. Donovan fouls it off again, and we'll do it over as this battle rages on between Stockley and Donovan. Lauren Evans reached with 2 outs in the inning and just took second base steal there. And stands there as the potential game-winning run at second base. As our fellow senior Aston Donovan at the plate. As the 2-2, Donovan fouls it off.
This is what you play for. This is the at-bat.
Competitive juices are all over the place. Evans at second. 2 outs here. Stockley and Donovan. The pitch upstairs, it's ball 3. 3-2 the count. If Donovan were to get on without driving in the winning run, that would allow Lindsay Devitt to hit in this inning.
Also not a bad spot for USF to be in with Devitt, with Aston Donovan on and Devitt up to bat.
3-2. That's popped up behind third base. Marcelino makes the catch, and we advance to the 11th as we are through 10 innings here in Tampa, Florida, and nothing has been decided. We still don't know who will join Memphis, Tulsa, and Houston in the semis. We're tied at 1 here on ADN.
When learning creates leaders, ideas are ignited, focus gets sharper, and service connects generations. We commit our expertise to heal, to discover, and to drive our region forward to a brighter tomorrow. East Carolina University. Tomorrow starts here.
Welcome back. You're a part of history. As you see the scoreboard, they've run out of innings. They have had to start over because now this is the longest game in American softball championship history. We are into the top of the 11th. A 1-1 game between the Huskies and the Bulls. Top of the order as Brianna Marcelino will lead it off, followed by Kelly Bates and Carly Cutler. And they will face Hannah Parker. And the first pitch by Marcelino is fouled off to the first base. So this is the longest game. Of course, the American Softball Championships began in 2014 in Houston. The longest game was 10 innings in 2016 between Houston and Memphis, a game that the Cougars won. That has been surpassed here tonight by the Huskies and the Bulls. Here in the 11th is Marcelino. Hits one deep to short, and it took a wicket hopping into left field. And Marcelino gets on to start the Huskies' 11th inning. That one took a kind of a wacky hop off Boyle. The senior is so short-handed it's short, and it just hopped on her.
And you rarely see Boyle get caught off guard by a bounce. She is one of the most athletic players that USF has, and it just unlucky there. Another example, I mean, she sits back and trusts the field and trusts herself on that, but sometimes you just have to, there's certain plays you just have to charge, and that just happened to be one of them.
So a single for Marcelino, who's at first base. Kelly Bates, you saw there, try to bunt and bunted it foul. As the junior Bates stepping in here against the lefty Parker. The 0-1. There's a bunt, and it's a good one. Evans will throw to first in time with Devitt covering the bag at first base. Marcelino advances to second base with one out here in the 11th. And Carly Cutler will come to the plate, the left-handed hitter, to hit here. So Parker to face the lefty Cutler with the runner at second in Marcelino. And Cutler takes the first pitch for a strike. 0-1 the count. Oh, 0-1 the count to Cutler, who's 0 for 4 tonight. The sophomore takes a pitch inside for a ball, and the count is 1-1. The 1-1 pitch. Cutler hits it to the right side. Devitt is there, will throw to first in time to get Cutler. Marcelino advances to third base on the play with 2 outs. And Kiwi McDaniel will come to the plate. Kiwi McDaniel has a hit and has reached base 3 times tonight, as you see Cutler hitting the ball to the right side for the out. And McDaniel takes outside for a ball as Parker with a runner at third and 2 outs. Here in the 11th. The 1-0. This ball 2. 2-0 the count to McDaniel.
And again, we talked a little bit about McDaniel's strengths. Super disciplined at the plate, but she wants to pull the ball. So anything on the inside corner, she's going to need to make sure she's super disciplined, especially against a pitcher like Parker.
2-1. There's that great pitch. That weapon that Hannah Parker has. Such an arsenal that Coach Erickson likes to use. Out of the bullpen and can start, but has been mainly a reliever this season. 2-2 the count. And McDaniel pulls it foul down the right side, and we'll do it again.
And we've certainly seen Parker settle in, which has been great. I haven't seen very much from her this season. Most of the innings have gone to Corrick and Eggins. So it's good to see another senior on this USF pitching rotation getting some innings in one of the biggest games of their season so far.
And she gets McDaniel strikeout looking to end the top of the 11th as they strand the runner at third. We head to the bottom of the 11th, still tied at 1. Here are the American Softball Championships on ADN.
Wichita State University is Shocker Nation. We exceed expectations, push boundaries, seize opportunities, and move boldly ahead. We are student-centered and innovation-driven. It's who we are. Our vision is simple but powerful. Create, innovate, collaborate, and celebrate. With one unifying purpose: to shock the world.
7,000 student athletes rising to become champions in 21 different sports at 13 esteemed institutions across 11 states. 360,000 students and 2.6 million alumni rise up in celebration of a Power 6 conference known as the American.
Bottom of the 11th here at the American Softball Championships, the final quarterfinal game, a memorable one between the regular season champions and the number 1 overall seed, the USF Bulls, and the 8th-seeded UConn Huskies, tied at 1. The heart of the order for the Bulls will come up. Lindsay Devitt will lead it off, followed by Hannah Parker and Macy Cook against Jill Stockley, starting her 11th inning of work. First pitch to Devitt. Here's ball 1. Devitt, a .368 hitter on the season. 1 run, 5 hits, 1 error for the Huskies. 1 run, 7 hits, and 1 error for the Bulls. Devitt's 2 for 3 tonight, with a single and a double in this game. The 1-0 takes outside. Ball 2, 2-0 the count.
And Lindsay Devitt able to capitalize in 2 out of 3 at-bats you just mentioned, Eric, and would love to see what she does with a hitter's count here from Stockley. Love to see a 2-0 or 3-1 count in a clutch situation like this.
2-0 pitch is in there called strike, and it's 2-1. The 2-1. Hit up the middle. Marcelino will throw to first. Not in time, and Devitt beats it out to lead off here the 11th inning.
There she is, 3 for 4.
That was a heck of a play by Marcelino with the range just to even get to that ball, but to no avail against Devitt. I mean, really, that was a heck of a play just to even get to that ball and even make it somewhat close at home at first base. So now Hannah Parker is hitting in the spot here. As a result of all the switches that have been going on, we'll hit here with a runner at first, and you got to believe here, Coach Erickson, I think he's thinking here maybe a bunt, sacrifice bunt if possible, with Devitt at first base.
Oh yeah, something to put the ball in play and execute here. Again, we talked about how important it was for teams previously today to play good softball, and one of the ways you do that is executing the short game.
Stockley. Parker shows bunt and bunts it foul. And the count is 0-1. If you're wondering, Devitt 6 for 8 on the season in stolen bases. That could be in play as this inning unfolds. We'll see. As a possible option for Coach Erickson. 0-1 the count to Parker. Stockley delivers. Parker tries to bunt and gets it down.
Beautiful.
Cutler will throw to first in time to get Parker, but it does advance Devitt into scoring position at second base. And a potential game-winning run is now standing at second base with Macy Cook to the plate. It was Cook who drove in the RBI single in the bottom of the 6th for the Bulls.
Doesn't matter what side you're on, you can appreciate softball when it's well executed and played by the book, and that's a beautiful example of committing to the game plan, right? You see before her at bat, Parker go up to Erickson, and she nods, she gestures at herself, and I'd like to think that that conversation looked like, do you feel confident enough to bunt? Do I need to put somebody else in? And she takes responsibility and says, no, Coach, I want to be the one to get my bunt down and contribute here, and I love everything about that.
The fans that are here still with a lot of energy here. They've watched the classic here in the American Softball Championship game. Here in the bottom of the 11th, Macy Cook, the junior.
So this is one of the first times we've been able to see a runner in scoring position on either side and less than 2 outs. Really, both teams have waited until the final hour.
First pitch is strike, and the count is 0-1 to the right-handed hitting Cook. Stockley gone the distance for UConn here. Cook, the junior, had that single to left in the 6th inning. It gave the Bulls a 1-0 lead. The 0-1. Cook fouls it off, and as the count is 0-2. Devitt is at second base, had the single and advanced to second on the sacrifice bunt by Hannah Parker. The 0-2. Reaches it, grounds it to first. To touch the bag at first, and they get the out. As Kearns touched the bag at first, that does advance Devitt to third base. So the potential game-winning run is at third base. And Georgina Korick will step in as you see Devitt here reading the play. It took third base. And that's very smart. They're underrated. You don't want to get thrown out in a situation like this.
No need to push the envelope there.
Right.
That was smart base running. Now is not necessarily the time to be aggressive on the base paths and run into an out. No need to create something that you just need to trust your teammates in this moment.
Georgina Korick at the plate, ahead of the count 1-0. With a game-winning run potentially at third base here is the 1-0. Korick rounds it to third, and that's a foul ball. The foul ball is the call, and it's a count of 1-1. Cutler dove there at third base. The foul ball, and the count is 1-1 to Korick against Stockley. This was the starting pitching matchup here about 2 hours and 50 minutes ago.
And it's cooled down significantly here in Tampa if you're not able to join us.
Korick hits a fly ball to center, but it's playable. Guevara makes the catch and sends us to the 12th. We are through 11 innings. UConn won, USF won, here at the American Softball Championships on the American Digital Network.
Welcome into the ADN studio. Hope your week is off to a great start. Thanks for tuning in to an all-new episode of The Rise.
And Mike Hughes, the kicker to beat. Do you believe it? Kareem Bruton Jr. for the win. Yes! The American Conference Championship. Bernie scores.
The next biggest game is our biggest game, and we've been doing that all year.
A game like this, you got to want to win the game. We get to the point to where, okay, we're all scratching the itch, waiting for college football to start.
How impressive is it that both of these programs have been here the last 4 years?
This ball is launched out and beyond left field. Bohm gets around on this one, up the line, that's fair.
I couldn't be prouder. I mean, this conference has just performed beyond anyone's expectations.
Hannah Parker back to come out here for the Bulls in the top of the 12th, the longest game in the history of the American Softball Championship Tournament since it began in 2014. And we have blown past that as we're in the top of the 12th. Eric Lopez here alongside Sydney Gerbrack for this classic between the Bulls and the Huskies, the 1 seed versus the 8 seed. The winner of this game will come back and play tomorrow at 4:30 Eastern against the number 5 seed, the Memphis Tigers, who have got to be enjoying this. If you're a Memphis Tiger fan and you're the Memphis Tiger team, you just want them to keep playing all night.
Oh, absolutely. And that's one of the things, too, is that, you know, as an offense, one of the, I would say, professional courtesies, I'd say, in a sport like softball, especially at the elite level, is get through the game as fast as you can get through it so that you can save your pitcher's arm circles, right? The more arm circles they're making, sometimes you can take innings out of a pitcher, and that's something that you want to avoid at all costs. And Stockley, if she's going to be pitching tonight, most likely if they win this game, she's going to be pitching tomorrow, and then she's going to be pitching in the championship game. Limit the amount of pitches that she has to throw, and learn how to or figure out how to execute rather.
And Stapleton executes there with a leadoff single for the Huskies here in the 12th inning. You talk about execution. That was well executed there by Olivia Stapleton here to start the Husky 12th.
And she did a good job of figuring out what it was that Parker was throwing, and like we said, able to execute.
Chloe Kearns, the sophomore right-handed hitter, to hit here with the runner at first. Looks to bunt. Does bunt. Bunts it foul in the air. And then the count is 0-1. We are approaching 11 and a half hours. Been on here, the first on the air at 10 a.m. with Tulsa, the 6th seed, knocked off Wichita State 3-1. Houston beat ECU 3-1 following that, as the 0-1 is upstairs for a ball. And then Memphis beat UCF 3-0. And here we are in the 4th game, tied at 1 in the top of the 12th. The Bulls scored 1 in the bottom of the 6th to take a 1-0 lead. As the bunt is executed, Parker will go to first.
Thought by the way she turned that she was going to go for that lead out.
She was thinking about it.
She thought about it.
Number 7, the catcher.
So one of the things I want to point out and give a nod to UConn is that, we're going to get a chance to see this again.
Good bunt there.
Looks like it looks like she just was able to field that.
Sometimes it's better to take the high percentage play. The last thing you want to do is force something and then it kind of blows up.
Right.
Especially in a situation like this. As the first pitch is strike. There to Casasso, the player here, with 1 out and a runner at second.
And just to make my point really quickly, one of the things that is great about UConn is that they've been able to make adjustments throughout the season so that they're ready to come into this game regardless of what it looks like in their series, and be able to make an impact and hang with a team that swept them no problem at the beginning of the season. And so much growth going on within that UConn program. We've spoken to it a number of times so far in the broadcast, but it's one of the things that can't be celebrated enough, especially them being right now the 8th seed. Ideally, you're only as good as your weakest link, right, as a conference. And so we've watched them elevate their play all season long, and we have to celebrate that as a conference.
1-2, that's into dirt, ball 2. We've said it, this conference is the 4th rated conference, the strongest conference in the sport. And you don't become the 4th strongest conference in college softball without quality and depth. And you're seeing it here tonight with the regular season champion Bulls and the 8th-seeded UConn Huskies. 2-2. Great pitch, frozen. A strikeout for Parker as Kearns goes down on strikes. 2 outs here in the 12th.
Number 11, second baseman Ryan Nakama.
Great pitch here by Parker.
Oh, beautiful. Commits to the outside corner. Beautiful backdoor curve. Off speed.
Ryan Nakama now, the senior at the plate. Left-handed hitter takes a strike, and the count is 0-1. Now Cook will have a word with Parker. Make sure they're in the same sequence. Got a runner at second base. It's Stapleton, who's led off the inning with a single. Kearns with a sacrifice bunt. Advanced her to second base, and then Casasso struck out looking. And that's where we stand right now with an 0-1 count with 2 outs. And Nakama swings and got a piece of it, but the count is now 0-2. 0-2 the count. Parker delivers. Pitch out there. When the count is 1-2. Chase one outside the strike zone to see if Nakama would bite. She did not. And the count is 1-2.
Nakama trying to extend her season as well.
1-2. Nakama hits it to the right side. Evans is there, though, to touch the bag at first to send us to the bottom of the 12, still tied at 1. It's 1-1 here at the American Softball Championships on the American Digital Network.
When learning creates leaders. Ideas are ignited. Focus gets sharper. And service connects generations. We commit our expertise to heal, to discover, and to drive our region forward to a brighter tomorrow. East Carolina University. Tomorrow starts here.
Bottom of the 12th here in Tampa, Florida. Quarterfinal action of the American Softball Championships. Eric Lopez alongside Cindy Gerback. Brooke Hartman will lead it off for the Bulls against Jill Stockley, who starts her 12th inning. Has gone the distance for the Huskies as delivers the first pitch for a ball. 1-0 the count to Hartman. Will be followed by Cassidy Boyle and Jasmine Haynes are the scheduled hitters. Hartman has 2 hits tonight. The 1-0. Strike. And the count is even at 1-1. And if you were watching Stockley, you couldn't tell that she has thrown 12 innings. She looks the same as she did when this game started, has been flawless. A ball and a strike to count to Hartman. And Hartman hits it off the end of the bat. Look at Stockley, quickly to first on the toss. Fielding her own position there, Stockley, with a lot of energy there, gets that first out.
That's a really good choice there by Stockley. I don't know if Nakama's going to be able to come in and make that play.
You're right. She cut her off there.
That's a really good choice.
Fielded her position very well. And now Cassidy Boyle to the plate. First pitch, low there, ball 1, 1-0 the count to the senior, Cassidy Boyle. Who's 1 for 2 tonight, has been hit by a pitch, as well as a single. And she tomahawks it to third, foul. A ball and a strike to count.
Well, USF has been making adjustments. They've certainly been putting the ball on the ground more often. So, I mean, what can you do? Stockley has done a really good job of keeping them off balance. I mean, they've still not been able to nail down a sequence and be able to choose exactly what it is she's going to throw. Just when I think she's about to throw another changeup, she throws something hard and down, or she throws a rise ball.
Cassidy Boyle ahead of the count, 2-1 against Stockley. 1 out here in the bottom of the 12th. A 1-1 game. Stockley delivers.
Not sure why she's not getting that call. That's the second pitch we've seen this at bat that she hasn't gotten. Wonder if that's missing just a little bit low or a little bit too far out.
3-1 the count to Boyle. And she misses there high, and it's a walk. A 1-out walk to Boyle. And the Bulls have the a runner at first. And Jasmine Haynes is scheduled to come up to the plate. Now, if you're Coach Erickson, you've got Haynes, who's slap hitter, is capable of bunting for a hit. Do you let her hit away? Do you try to let her slap? Do you let her try to bunt here? You got Boyle at first base. And I think that's what Coach Erickson is going to talk strategy there with the young freshman Jasmine Haynes. You know the Husky defense will be playing in against the slap hitter, Haynes.
I think there's an incredible opportunity here for USF to finally put those winning runs up on the board. Haynes is going to have to do her job, though. She's going to be really strategic in order to not burn this out. I mean, that might make the difference, putting a runner in scoring position with only 1 out here on the board. Even moving them 2 bases if Haynes can find a way to swing it.
First pitch by Stockley. Haynes shows and does bunt. Stockley will field, will throw to first, and they get Haynes out at first. That advance, Boyle, though, to second base. And once again, the Bulls have the game-winning run standing at second base. With Lauren Evans will come to the plate. Coach Erickson's going to call for a pinch runner here for Boyle. But Haynes with the bunt, and I don't think that's a situation where she's trying to sacrifice, but I think that's one of those where you're trying to bunt to get on.
Well, I think it's a good strategy because, you know, worst case scenario, just like we saw, you're moving your runner across and it doesn't count against you. Then in the event you get on base, it ends up just being a hit.
JoJo McGill, the pitcher, is pinch running at second base. So if you're scoring at home, you've had Corrick and Parker who have pitched and hit, and now you've got McGill pinch running at second. What a game. Lauren Evans takes for a ball. How about that? So JoJo McGill, pinch running here. Evans 0 for 4 tonight, has been hit by a pitch. That's the one time she's gone on. The senior Evans ahead of the count 1-0 with McGill at second base. The 1-0. Evans hits it to second. Oh, it took the wicket, hopping into right field. And McGill's going to come in to score. And the Bulls win it 2-1. And the South Florida Bulls, the American Conference champions, survive and advance to the semifinals tomorrow to take on the 5 seed, the Memphis Tigers, with a 2-1 win in 12 innings. As Evans drilled the ball in the second, and it took a wild hop, and it went over the head of Nakama. And that allowed JoJo McGill, the pitcher, to come around to score. And the Bulls survive and advance.
Oh, my God, a great choice there, but it just breaks my heart for Nakama. I mean, what are you going to do? You think you know how that ball is going to play. She gets in the right spot. She charges the ball. Just maybe that extra step. You wonder if that's going to make the difference. And you know what? It just happens. It doesn't have to look pretty, but USF is able to get the job done.
And it's the senior.
Yep,
the senior Lauren Evans getting the hit, and it was Boyle getting on. Remember, she was pinch run for, but she got on. Veteran, senior stepping up in a time like this.
Oh, yeah.
And to get the Bulls win. Let's go now to a break, and we'll be back with final thoughts as the Bulls win it in 12, 2-1. Here are the American Softball Championships on ADN.
Welcome in to the ADN studio. Hope your week is off to a great start. Thanks for tuning in to an all-new episode of The Rise.
And Mike Hughes, the kicker to beat. Do you believe it? Kareem Bruton Jr. for the win. Yes! The American Conference Championship. Bernie scores.
The next biggest game is our biggest game, and we've been doing that all year.
A game like this, you got to want to win the game. We get to the point to where, okay, we're all scratching the itch, waiting for college football to start.
How impressive is it that both of these programs have been here the last 4 years?
This ball is launched out and beyond left field. Bohm gets around on this one, up the line, that's fair.
I couldn't be prouder. I mean, this conference has just performed beyond anyone's expectations.
As the Houston Cougars will take on the Tulsa Golden Hurricanes. They are the winners from games.
What a night of college softball here, ladies and gentlemen, as the USF Bulls, the 1 seed, knocked off the 8 seed UConn Huskies in a classic in 12 innings, 2-1. And if you look at the updated brackets, tomorrow semifinals, they're going to have I can't believe it. This is just day one. Tulsa and Houston will get us started at 2 o'clock in the first semifinal at 2 o'clock, a rematch of the American Softball Championship game. Tulsa beating Wichita State, Houston beating East Carolina, both by scores of 3-1. The Memphis Tigers beat the UCF Knights 3-0 early today. And they will now face the USF Bulls, who was pushed to the limit in an amazing game as the Bulls with a 2-1 winner in 12 innings over the Huskies. A great moment, by the way, while we were on break. Coach McIntyre and Coach Erickson embraced, obviously both teams shaking hands, and the fans that were here gave standing ovation to not only USF but to UConn, and rightfully so. A fantastic game and effort by both teams and both sides, and no shame at all with Jen McIntyre, a Husky team with 14 players, or either freshman or sophomore, left it all on the field, and unfortunately lost on a bad bounce there. But give Evans credit to getting on and driving in JoJo McGill to win it for the Bulls, and the regular season champions live to play another day as they will play the Memphis Tigers. They beat the Tigers 2 out of 3 in the regular season in Memphis. This is a rematch of the quarterfinal game from a year ago when Memphis beat USF 7-0. The Tigers will certainly have their ace ready to go, Molly Smith. We'll see what Coach Erickson decides to do, but right now I think he's got relief that he was able to survive a gamed UConn Huskies team. We'll take another break, and we'll hope to have Coach Erickson on with Haley Allen when we return as the Bulls win it 2-1. You're watching coverage of the American Softball Championships on the American Digital Network.
There are other people just like you, driven, determined, those who use passion to spark creation, others who are ready to unite and discover together. It all starts with you and continues with us, the University of South Florida.
Power comes in all forms.
Power is a big tackle,
A big save.
A clutch hit.
And a game-winning shot.
Power is also standing up for what is right.
power is respecting an opponent, officials,
student athletes, coaches, and team representatives.
Power is not tolerating racial or ethnic comments,
Profanities or other improper actions.
while at the game.
Be American.
Power.
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 Power for life.
Eric Lopez and Cindy Gerback back here in Tampa, Florida. A wild conclusion as the USF Bulls, with a 2-1 win in 12 innings over the UConn Huskies, advancing to the semifinal to take on the Memphis Tigers at 4:30. But what a classic game between the Bulls and the Huskies. I don't think anybody that was here and witnessed it tonight will ever forget this game. One of the greatest games ever played in this conference. And we've talked a lot about this conference and the year it's had. It's the 4th strongest conference in the league, and I think this game shows it all. You have the regular season champions and the 8th place team basically playing a classic 12-inning game. If that doesn't tell you how great this league and how deep this league is, I don't know what does.
Well, and it shows that Erickson's strategy ended up working, right? He was confident in the fact that he needed to use both of these pitchers, both Cork and Parker, in order to get this win. Sure, it might have gone differently in the 7th inning had he left Cork in, but it doesn't matter. They were still able to pull out the win, and that's what makes the difference.
Let's hear now from the head coach of the Bulls. Ken Erickson's got to be relieved, as he will be talking to Haley Outen here in a couple of moments. As soon as they're ready, we'll toss it over. And let's toss it now to Haley Outen with Ken Erickson.
I'm now joined by USF head coach Ken Erickson. Coach, officially the longest game ever in American Championship softball history, so congratulations on this win. But when the ball left Lauren Evans' bat, what went through your mind?
Take a bad bounce. Take a bad bounce, give us a break, you know. I mean, that kid Stockley for Connecticut, what a game she threw. I mean, that guy right there shows you the depth of our conference, shows you why this conference is rated 4th in the country. We had them 3-0 earlier in the year, you know, and I told our guys, they're not a 0-3 team. Okay, watch what happens. They're a really good team, really good coaching. Connecticut just played ball tonight, and look for the future for them. They're going to be a power in the Northeast, no doubt about it.
Your team was able to battle in this game and come out with a win here in a tough postseason environment. What does this say about your team moving forward as you continue in the postseason?
We're going to move forward till dinner right now. The postseason takes care of itself. We're just going to go. In all honesty, we always talk about the next game is practice, you know, and right now food, because hangry women are not fun to be around, right? You know that.
They're certainly not.
No, that's exactly right. So we're going to make sure they're fed, and then we'll worry about tomorrow. And I think we have Memphis, right? Okay, so another good team that battles, you know, so what a great environment here tonight, you know, and I think the rest of the weekend will be good too.
Georgina Korek and Hannah Parker both making contributions in the pitching. How did you manage your pitching staff towards especially the later part of the game, I should say?
You know, we did it back in 2012, 13 or 14 with Lindsey Richardson and Sarah Nevins, the lefty-righty combinations. UConn was on George pretty good. Their lefties were on George pretty good. And we decided, you know what, let's give it a little different look. George throws it 68, 69. You know, Hannah flips it up there around 22, 23. You know, so we went with a speed change, and it kind of worked out for us. But Hannah Parker really stepped up in her senior, you know, environment for a tournament. Really, really neat. Really neat to see what she did tonight.
All right, thanks a lot, Coach. Good luck against Memphis.
We'll take all the luck we can get now.
Thanks.
Thank you, Haley Outen, and thanks to Coach Erickson for joining us. And he said it well said. UConn, the future's bright. 14 of 18 players on the roster, freshmen and sophomores. They have nothing to be ashamed of. They have a lot to be proud of. An incredible year for them. They played a heck of a game. They beat Texas A&M. Their future is very bright. But tonight, the ball bounced the Bulls' way, and they will advance here to the semifinals, and there it is. 2 o'clock, Tulsa and Houston will get us started on the American Digital Network. It's a rematch of the American Softball Championship. Memphis and USF will be the second semifinal. Sydney, quick thoughts on the 2 semifinals and what do you expect tomorrow?
Oh, so excited to see another matchup between Tulsa and Houston. Going to be another pitcher's duel, most likely between Watson and Huebner. Excited to see what those 2 pitchers and 2 offenses are able to produce against the 2 aces. Again, you know, a tale of 2 aces. And then we see from Memphis, USF, going to be some major gamesmanship. We know coming from the Bulls. We saw it today against UConn. USF don't know who they're going to throw tomorrow. May throw Corrick, may throw Eggins, may even throw Parker back in there.
Eggins didn't pitch tonight.
She did not, but we know that they have her in her arsenal. She's just another tool for them to whip out whenever they need her. Memphis may go back to Molly Smith, but again, if Memphis is able to execute their game plan the way they were tonight, they're going to give USF a run for their money.
This was fun. Let's do this again tomorrow.
Absolutely. That sounds great.
Thanks to our great crew on the American Digital Network. They've been here for almost 12 hours working and providing you the video and the coverage and the footage that you've been watching all day long. Thanks to Haley Outen and to everybody here from Tampa, Florida. Final score, USF 2, UConn 1 in 12 innings. The Bulls advance to the semifinals. We'll catch you tomorrow for semifinal coverage on the American Digital Network. Check out theamerican.org for all the details. For Cindy Gerbach and our great ADN crew, I'm Eric Lopez saying good night from Tampa. You've been watching the American Softball Championships on the American Digital Network.